Okay, we're definitely not strumming it, so you're good to go.
I may be, but
But please continue with your story.
well, dude, I just like I was so upset. I don't think you understand how truly devastated I was. I told my dad that it felt like I was walking down an asphalt road, tripped, slid on my face, and dropped a glass vase, and I'm just laying there looking at the shattered pieces.
Wow.
Like,
To put this in perspective for everyone else, I texted Josh about the opportunity to get an Xbox Series X, and he didn't get one. It was in his shopping cart, but he had to make a Microsoft account or change his password, and in that time,
It
it
was sold.
it left his
yeah,
shopping cart. Yeah.
Oh, they're
yeah.
hard. They're hard to get, man.
Well, and it was the limited edition Halo one.
Oh,
They
really?
did the
Okay.
cheaper one. Someone posted yesterday that Costco has a ton.
Are you serious?
Better
Yeah.
run there right now.
Yeah, guys, I gotta go.
You're on trial. You can't leave.
You have a baby. Send the baby to go get those things
Yeah,
for you.
come on.
I'm innocent. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, I'll speak for your Kuatoa then.
Kill everything.
You'll get one eventually.
Does
But-
Costco really have some, or something? They just like
Let
joke?
me make sure what that was.
If it's been a couple days or even a couple hours, I feel like they're gone.
You could just call them right now and check.
That too. But yeah, when I reached out to him, I was at work because I had my eye on it because I didn't know what the collector's edition was going to look like or whatever. I ended up getting
Josh, everything you're buying's out of stock, man.
I'm aware.
It was 2 days ago, probably about this time, so 48 hours.
It's gone. Ship sailed.
You got time. Just don't stoop to the scalpers level. Just don't pay those bastards.
I mean, yeah,
Don't-
the
No,
cost
I'm
of
not.
membership.
Oh.
I on principle would not do that. It's like I want one, but not that bad.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
You've
not.
gone like 12 years without Xbox. I think you can go a little longer.
Exactly. It's just
Yeah.
that I also am thinking like this microchip problem isn't going to just go away. Like this isn't just going to get fixed. So like, well, I mean, it's just going to get worse. But anyways, here's the story. So I'm driving down the road, and he sends me this link, and I can't get it open. I don't really know what it is, and then I text him, and he finally clarifies that like, hey, you could get an Xbox, and so I'm fucking with my phone so much that finally my dad is like, what are you doing? Drive down the road, because I wasn't even like paying attention to the road. I was just refresh.
Priorities.
And I got to where we were going, which was a supply house. And so I went and hid in the back of the supply house, and my dad thought I was getting material. And all I was doing was refreshing. And it literally said, I literally hit refresh. It was originally saying, sorry, website not up. Sorry, website not up. And then I hit refresh, and it was a picture of the Xbox, and it said pre-order now. And I promise you, I was like the first person to have like pre-order now, like boom, in the cart, like right there. It was like in the cart, ready for me to check out. And I hit check out, and it goes log into Microsoft account. And so I put my email in there and my password, and apparently I did something when I was like 12 and had an Xbox original because I wanted to get Xbox Live. And anyways, I couldn't get into the account and the account, I tried so many times that it locked me out. I had to change my password. I'd go and my emails are linked together for security. So then my other emails started like sending me shit, and by the time I finally got it all straightened out, and hit checkout, it pops up and says sorry, no longer available.
Mm.
And this whole time my dad's been looking for me and trying to figure, and by the time he found me, I was like furious. Like I just couldn't even talk. I was so mad. I don't know if I said anything for like 30 minutes. I was so mad. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And then Christian's like, look at this cool controller I was able to get.
everybody was so focused on getting the console. I was like, I'll just get one of these cool controllers.
Yeah,
But-
he's like,
What
"Man,"
a jerk,
like-
that Christian.
Mm.
he's like, man, that really sucks. I'm sure it'll be okay. Look at this cool controller I was able to order. Jerk.
I let you know about it, and then I genuinely I tried to get one in my cart, because if I would have got one in my cart, I would have just sold you my old one, but I couldn't get that, but I got the controller, so I was like, well.
I can't believe, like, I can't. What even makes me more mad is, like, if they're going to make you sign in to a Microsoft account, why would they sell it out from underneath you? Like what the fuck? Like, why have it in my cart and then say sign into either say sign into Microsoft to pre-order. Like, what the hell? It just is so.
Usually when
devastating.
it's in your cart, it's safe for a good, but I'm sure it timed out. Like, they can only have you hold on to that stuff for so long before they're like, okay, need to make a decision here. We got other people.
I guess. I don't know, but I couldn't believe. I mean, it just.
You'll get one. Think about it. You could have got that console, though, and then flipped it for double the price, and then just bought 2 Xbox Series X's.
Thanks, Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't already looked at scalpers wanting $1,200 for them.
Yeah, because I don't know who's paying for that, but apparently someone is, because they keep offering it for that money.
Like, I mean, I guess if you want one and you've got it, you've got the money. Like,
Hmm. All right. But yeah, sorry if you want me to not let you know next time that you have an opportunity to get one.
you to,
Okay.
It's not your fault. It was just devastating. The emotional roller coaster I went through.
Yeah, that was me for 3 months just trying to get a regular one, so. But you'll get one. Microchip shortage or not. They want people to buy them, so. But we can get started with D&D now. And we'll open up with fun facts. And a very topical fun fact tonight. The question is, in your character's life, was there ever anything that they always wanted, whether as an adult or a child, but they could just never get? They could just never get their hands on it. Like, it didn't matter how hard they tried. They were always out of stock, or all the cool kids had them.
Imagine where you came up with this, bro.
I know, it's mind-blowing. I feel like Tug probably already has a story that we just heard, but
Or his dad.
yes.
Hey! Don't steal my answers.
But whoever's willing to go first, just say your character's name and then your own name. I usually give you guys intros, but if I'm letting you decide who goes first, I want the people to know who you are, you know? Bunch of Tyrells out there tonight, huh? Nobody
I mean, I just wanted to spend time with my dad. I mean, every once in a while, you know, on the horizon there'd be this huge bright light, and I'd be like, "Dad, he's coming!" And it was just like fireworks or something. But I just miss him so much. I just don't understand.
So, the thing that you could never obtain is your father's attention.
No, I believe he's paying attention. He just doesn't want to hang out. He's
Just
watching.
doesn't love him.
He's watching. He knows what's up. He just doesn't want to. He's a busy man. He's busy, guys. Like when he has time.
Doesn't that make it worse? Doesn't it make it worse that he is paying attention, but he still refuses to see you?
No, I mean, almighty power is a lot of responsibility. The man, he'll come around.
Okay.
I mean,
Once a year? Does he come around once a year? And does he like pack a lot of gifts? Does he?
no, that's my cousin.
Wow. Santa Claus is Genasi, huh?
Could be.
Kind of makes sense. I mean, ultimately,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, think about it.
All right. Now that.
Ooh, I got one for Detective Easter.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a barbecue joint here in Nyctanthes that offers a free meal, and you can get whatever you want on the menu.
Mhm.
But they have to pull your business card out of a jar, and they do that every month. And I drop by all the time. Sometimes I don't even go in there to get a meal. I just go in there to drop off a business card. Never once been drawn. So hoping that happens for me someday.
You just need to poke a bunch of holes in your business card, so when they reach in there blindly, they feel it and they're like, "What the hell is this?" And they pull it out and they're like, "Oh,
I just got.
yeah." Then they throw it in the trash and say, "Draw again." That guy poked a bunch of holes in his
Like
business
that.
card.
I feel like it has to be rigged. It's got to be. I've never seen a Dragonborn, win that competition. So they're probably just a bunch of racists over there.
Probably definitely
But
rigged.
yeah. So I'd love to get that free barbecue someday.
Interesting. That's a good one. I'm gonna cross my fingers for Detective Easter, and by extension, Kobe, because I know how bad you want that free lunch. So
Yeah, that'd be real nice to get someday. So I feel like a winner. Just make that Tuesday a little extra special.
It's so crazy that we were in the market the other day, and I just offhandedly walked into that shop and won it. Sorry, I didn't know that's
just,
what you
just on
like.
the first try, and I'm sitting there just looking over, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
You just dropped your business card right in, and they did the drawing right then and there.
And that's when Soul was also arrested.
So that's obviously something Soul can obtain. Is there anything Soul or Sailor Sun can't obtain? Something.
Well, of course, I was wanting an audience with Queen Serenity to discuss how I could obtain my powers back.
Mm.
And I just kept waiting, and they were telling me that it's gonna come, and instead I had to settle for, not quite the system, but an offshoot. I was given a picture of her instead.
Was it at least like autographed? Like, thank you for your patience, Queen Serenity?
It was not. It was a tiny picture to wear around my neck, close to my heart, because that's as close as I was ever gonna get.
Ouch. Do you still wear that?
Every day.
It's in a locket. You look at it longingly.
I do a lot of stuff with it.
Oh.
We're gonna keep it that.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around what you do with a locket that's sexual, but I mean, maybe asphyxiation or something. I don't know.
Yeah, if that's what you're into. You said it, not me.
Hey, I'm just trying to get to know your character better. How about Ranger Steve or Tyrell? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, growing up, there was this one massive tree, kind of at the top of this big hill, and it kind of hung over some cliffs. And this specific tree had this fruit that was basically unobtainable, unless, some of the adults were able to craft something to get out to it. We only had it on special occasions. And it was always kind of a game for, growing teenagers in the community to try and get it. Growing up, I never saw anybody ever get one, but having it once a year, it was it's just like the most delicious fruit you could possibly think of. But I've never had the opportunity since I left at a pretty young age to be able to do that.
How many people died in the pursuit of this unobtainable fruit?
No one that I know of. They sort of surrounded the lure of it, I suppose, with the possibility of dying. But what I'm aware of is that they always tied themselves off to the tree.
Mm.
So there was always a bit of a, at least a rope to catch you. But at that, it was still, I mean, the tree itself was like super sappy. And so
Maybe that was the trick. You can't make it if you're tied off. You have to trust in yourself.
Yeah. It's
So I think, someday I'm gonna get out there and get that.
there is also a man in the tree named Bane. He's the only person that ever got the fruit for
That's
you guys.
what I was gonna say. Yeah, there's only one man that we know of, and he's the bane of our existence.
He merely adopted the tree. He was born in the tree, shaped by it, molded by it.
Oh, I like that. That's why I was actually quiet, as I was trying to think of a way to bring in, like the darkness, and like that was elegant. That was very elegant.
Well, I didn't write it. I'm just paraphrasing the movie. So
I know, but it was a very good way of doing it.
thank you.
So, okay, back to Ranger. Sorry, Ranger.
I think Ranger. Yeah, I think Ranger was done. I am curious to try this fruit. Did the fruit have a name?
Starfruit.
Ah.
I knew it.
I knew there was another
about to ask
tie
you
in there.
What was the shape of the fruit? Was what I was gonna ask.
It always looks so delicious.
Cartoon food looks the best, man. It really does. It's undeniable. So, Jared, Tyrell, you're the last one.
Okay.
What's an unobtainable thing you always sought after?
Your freedom in the trial.
I always get a hold of what I need. So I have something that I became unobtainable because of situations. So
Your parents.
I had my Yep, that's it.
Is that really it?
No.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
Honestly, I'll tell mine, and I also didn't write this like your statement, but I had some friends, Fran, Derek, Kenny, and we wanted to play this game system really bad. It was an Okama game sphere, and we had it for a little bit, but some pesky dwarves stole it from us and got into a political mess with the local battalion, and we went back and forth between the battalion and an advocacy group for owlbears, and they both promised us to get us the Akama Game Sphere back, but we went through all hell and never got it back.
Dang. So even worse, you had it in your possession, but you then had it stripped from you. That sucks. What was the game that you were most looking forward to playing on the Okama Game Sphere?
Tales of
HAILS, Hails of
Purple.
Purple.
Hails of Purple. Ah, I remember that one. It was a good one.
Classic.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that sort of technology was in Morningstar.
It's like a crystal ball, right? Game Sphere, same thing.
Yeah, we all played some games with the Emerald Dragon.
Exactly. They even had a AI. So I mean, don't underestimate
Costco has them. Costco still has them. I'm going.
Are you can't just buy them online?
No, you got to be there. My mom called.
Do you have a Costco membership?
Your mom call.
My mom has the Costco membership.
Go tell your mom to go get in line and go buy you a
I'm
video
going
game.
to Costco.
All right. Well, you better hurry then, because we'll start with Kobe's adventure on the side.
He's like 45 minutes from Costco.
Yeah. Better
I mean,
take your phone with you.
I was just gonna put a headset on.
You're like standing in line, giving your case.
I say you do it, man. This is great. I'm excited.
People
I
in
did
line
not
to get an
murder that
Xbox.
guy.
They'd probably understand in a line of people getting an Xbox of what you're doing.
I'm excited.
playing
I
D&D.
say you put on a headset. You go for it.
Yeah,
Reach
I have a feeling
out to the Kuatoa in line.
there's gonna be like 8 of us standing there, and as soon as I see Kuatoa, one of them's gonna turn around and like give me a head nod. I can already like. With Christian, you're already not putting a lot of faith in me, seeing how you're saying that the Kuatoa are going to be a big part of this. So this is either going to go one of two ways: really bad or really, really bad.
No, I'm gonna call a Kuatoa of your choosing to the stand, and you're gonna be that Kuatoa.
That'd be funny.
It better be fucking Hewick. Or he's not even here.
Hewick's
So.
Hewick's all the way back in Frogspear, so Ike's here, but he could just call another Kuatoa to the stand. It doesn't have to be any of them, which would give us another chance for Josh to name a Kuatoa. So
He'll name him Xbox. Costco. Yes, I am Costco.
Costco, the Kuatoa. Very nice.
Costco Kuatoa.
Well, do you guys have any questions for me before we get?
Are the waters just outside of Nyctanthes considered open waters and not subjugated to?
I think you asked this last time, and it's the waters are neutral territory.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's all I need. Yep. And then the guys are kings of their ship.
Correct, but when they're docked,
right.
they are considered under the jurisdiction of not Nyctanthes property, but just under their laws. So.
Yeah, we learned that a while ago because when we talked about it, I put a meme of the two monkeys knife fighting from The Simpsons when they get out into international waters, and that was a long time ago.
That was such a great scene.
Did we lose Tyrell? Did he run to get an Xbox too and just not tell us?
He's like, son of a bitch, I gotta go to Costco.
Jared's in front of you in the line when you get there, Josh, and he's just like, oh. He buys the last one.
He buys the last one. Oh, that'd be so
I'll
funny.
kill him.
He turns around and sells it to you for $1,000.
Yeah.
Well, joke's on him. I bought all the controllers. I don't even have an Xbox.
You're the guy at the Gold Rush selling shovels. You
I guess my mom's not gonna come get me because I guess she was already out or something. So.
Oh, she's out. Tell her just go pick one up.
Yeah, go
pay her
pick
back.
one up.
Oh no, I mean that's what she's doing, guys. It's not that I'm not getting one. It's just I don't have to make the trip.
Wow.
His mommy's getting it for him.
My mommy's getting it for me.
I was personally looking forward to you making a trip while playing D&D, but that's okay.
So now it's gonna be really awkward when Jared buys the last one in front of your mom.
Right.
I'm really excited for your mom to come home and you watch from the window jumping up and down.
You better say thank you and give her a big hug.
Tell her you love her.
I tell her thanks for everything she does for me. I'm very appreciative.
And then tell your daughter, you can watch, but you can't play mine.
This is Daddy's console. All right. I am live streaming it this time. I remembered. You didn't have to tell me. I'm getting better.
Perfect.
But the trial will continue. So after a second recess, The only charges that are left to bring against you as a group are the first-degree murder charges of the restless
Are we starting here? Or are we starting with Easter?
Knights. I'm just giving a summary before we talk with Easter, figure
Gotcha.
things out. So, but yes, Easter had snuck away. He was actually called upon at some point in the trial as a witness, and was not present. So the High Justice sent Barristan, the Tabaxi. I think I called him a Lionel last time, but I think he's the Tabaxi. Whatever. Cat. Knight. White Knight. One of the Swords of Justice. Was tasked with bringing Detective Easter back. So he is currently out searching for Detective Easter. Detective Easter has been on quite the stealth mission to obtain some evidence, maybe a little shadily, from the Blue Sun's ship. And where we left him last time is he was just outside the captain's quarters on the back, sort of, balcony, I guess, is, I don't know the nautical term for a balcony on a ship, but that's where you're at.
At the bow, or is that the front?
That was the front.
Okay. The opposite of the bow.
Yeah, the opposite of the bow. That's the nautical term, yes.
Yes.
But
stern.
without further ado, then, yeah, we can begin.
Alrighty. It looks like there's a door there. Can I see through like a crack at all in there?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a candlelight coming through the cracks of the doors, but it's kind of hard to see. You can see maybe some crates and barrels, some odds and ends, maybe some rugs, things like that, but it's tricky to get too good of a look of the entire room. But it does not appear on your hearing if there's anyone inside, or if they are inside, they're not making a sound.
Great. So I can see inside there.
For the most part, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'm gonna send my Echo Knight inside.
Okay. So you step inside, and what do you find? Some bookcases, some rugs like you saw. There's odds and ends, brooms. The sort of focal point, the center point, is a map of the surrounding area. You see Frogspear and Nyctanthes, sort of the main focus of the map by candlelight. But yeah, what do you want to look for? Are you looking for anything in particular?
Are there Kuatoa heads on the wall?
There are not any on the walls, but there are a fair number of crates around.
Okay. That map of Morningstar,
Mhm.
is it just a general map, or is it does it look like maybe it's like a military map, or a map of like resources are spread out alongside of it?
Yeah, so at first glances, it does look like a military map, but then you realize that these are just his trade routes, ships and personnel and things like that. He appears to have, if there's a waterway or a ocean that leads to it, he has trade routes that go there. So he gets around. He's a busy fella.
Okay. Does it look like there's a lump on the map anywhere?
A lump?
Yeah, like something might be underneath it.
No, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
Can I run my hand underneath the table to see if there's maybe a compartment or a drawer?
Yeah, you run your hand along the edge of the table all the way around. You don't see any sort of button or switch or anything.
Okay.
The cabins seem rather modest. I mean, they are captain's quarters, so they're nice, but he's obviously still storing things in here, so maybe these are the goods of higher value, but
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna look at the bookshelf.
all right.
What do I see that's just that's there?
So you see a bunch of logs of transactions, things like that. most of them seem to be of that nature. A couple of them are more maps of other areas, maps from across the Anasi Sea. So lands and places you don't really recognize.
Yeah.
But that's the gist of what's on the shelf there.
Okay. The transaction books, are they dated?
Yes, some are more well kept than others. Some of them are just books of IOUs or books of who owes him money. They're not necessarily well documented dates or what the transactions are for, just markings that he doesn't forget that people owe him money.
Okay. Can I look at? I'm looking for one that may look like it's the most recent one, and I'm going to try to look at page that would have like most recent transactions.
Sure. Is there a name that you're looking for in this transaction book?
I mean, is it set up alphabetically? Is
Uh,
that the way it seems to be set up, or is it just like
they seem to be set up in, like, he filled up a book and then he moved on to the next one kind of thing. So there's obviously books that he's more recently used, but they're at least grouped so all of the IOU ones are in one place, all the maps are in one place, and then all of the transaction logs are in another. But it's pretty easy for you to tell which books have seen the most use, just based on their distance from the corner of the shelf. So.
Okay. Well, I want to look at the just a newer transaction book and look for maybe what are some of the recent transactions that he's done.
Sure. So you sort of flip open the book that looks like it's gotten the most use recently. They're from a lot of places that you could only assume are Frog Spear, something about Sexy Pants City, something about the Bump City, some blueberry wine, things of that nature. There's definitely some like creatures that are being transferred, like living creatures, humanoids, things of that nature.
Okay, does anything pop out as illegal?
Nothing super illegal. It's hard to say on some of the creatures. They're definitely wild creatures. So depending on who he's selling those to would, determine if that was illegal or not. If he's selling it to a private owner that's a deadly creature that's going to use it for like pit fighting or something, that would be illegal. But if he's selling it to a zoo or some sort of artificer's college for them to study it, it could be deemed as okay.
Okay. Where's his most recent buys? I'm seeing some of his sales, but can I see a transaction where he bought something?
Yeah, so just on the shelf below, he's got the transactions of the purchases, and you actually see that the things that he has been buying the most is alcohol, wine. It seems to be a major thing that he's smuggling wine to some of the speakeasies here in Nyctanthes.
Gotcha. So it's listing him buying wine, and it does it say where he's buying the wine from?
Some of it's from the Golden Blueberry in Frog Spear. There's some other places around in Frog Spear that he appears to be buying the alcohol from. And then there's Twin Spire City, which seems to be another place that he's getting his alcohol from. And there's even some places from Nyctanthes that he's buying wine from and distributing out to the other cities.
Okay. Looking through purchases, do I see anywhere where he purchased a goose?
You don't see any. Yeah, so that was definitely a point of interest for you to search, and you don't see any history of transaction of him purchasing a goose.
Okay.
But maybe
now I'm
he
gonna open up.
hasn't got around to that yet, or simply there is a book that you don't know where it is.
Okay. Can I look at the IOUs?
Sure. Are you looking for
first,
anything
first
in
I want to
particular?
look at yeah, I just want to see, like, does it look like it's structured like he crosses a name off if an IOU is done, or
Yeah, so it's pretty much a running list. There's names crossed out on it. There's names that are still left. There's names that have some of the quantities of the IOU crossed out with a lesser amount written beside it. So there's
Okay.
people who have been paid off completely. There's people who have yet to pay him. There's certain ones that he's circled a couple times, obviously in frustration. But yeah, it's
okay.
a long list of IOUs and otherwise.
Specifically, I would be looking for one, Dolores or any of the swords, and then any names that I might recognize that are significant within Nyctanthes, either someone in law enforcement, or somebody with a political power, a name that I would recognize. And then finally, I would look to see if there's anybody that is related with the case at hand with the Zoo Warriors. Still kind of looking for that that connection. So
Sure. Yeah, so you don't see any names that would lead you to believe that anyone from your department or any of the keepers of justice are involved in these transactions. Like, they would be
Okay.
wise enough to use an alias or go through a third party.
yeah.
But you do see that he had a transaction with Purveyor Pate, and Purveyor Pate happens to owe him money for some whiskey that he purchased.
Interesting. Okay, and what does it have a date next to it?
It's fairly recent. It's almost a couple days back, so it's just before, in fact, you saw the group interview him, or interrogate him about his time in Nyctanthes. So, fairly recent transaction.
Okay. And then let me go look at. So I looked at one of the newer IOUs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any, like, what's the oldest book of IOUs?
So you reach to the book and to the far back left of the bookshelf, and you pull out one, and it's rather dusty, but you sort of crack open the pages, and some of them are more brittle than others, but almost everything in this book appears to be crossed out. You flip and flip and flip through the pages, and you don't see any names, but then you finally land on a name, and it is actually a Kuatoa, of all things.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have a name. It just says Kuatoa.
Anything about the IOU for the Kuatoa?
Yeah, so it doesn't
Other
appear
than
as if the coin was a trade, but it says slad eggs. And you find that peculiar because slads are dangerous creatures, but also you know that the captain of the Blue Suns has a hatred for these creatures, these Kuatoa. So for him to strike a deal with one, it would be some pretty extreme circumstances, or maybe perhaps this book was before he had any grievances with the Kuatoa.
Okay. I'm gonna put the book back,
Sure.
and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach. I'm assuming, since there's dust there,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Some, is there still dust in the book, or does it look like a bunch? If it's gone, does it look like it's back in place?
Your sort of four-finger claws didn't really leave much of a mark on the book. When you held it in your palm, it obviously, displaced some of the dust, but it doesn't look out of place. You'd have to pay real close attention in order to kind of
Okay.
discover that somebody had held that book.
Yeah, mostly I just want to make sure it's, like, right back in the same place. And if there was a big dust mark, then essentially I was just gonna wipe it down with a bit of my cloak. But
The
if
ship
it's-
is fairly it's not bone dry. It's got its
Gotcha.
fair share of leaks and things. So while there may have been
Okay.
dust on the book, It's kind of a humid environment that doesn't really allow for dust to build up too much.
Okay. Is there anything interesting or that would catch my eye on the shelf that, or at least this bookshelf that looks like it's maybe hidden away, or something that would be of interest to me?
Most of it's just boring books. There's
Okay.
a skull, but it appears to be from some creature. Hard to say what.
Okay. And what else? What else is in this room?
So you see the rugs, the crates, a couple chairs, a bench where there's some reading material, and another bookshelf that appears to just have more information on his crew and staff, things like that.
Okay. Can I go to the table with looks like a little workbench or whatever?
Yeah.
What's on there?
So there's just an open book. It looks like some sort of fiction, and it's titled "The Lusty Argonian Mage."
Okay. And is there a bookmark?
There is a bookmark. It's about 75-ish% of the way through the book.
And can I open that page and see if there's anything that pops out? Maybe like highlighted word or some sort of phrase that's on this page.
Yeah, you.
Please read a passage from the book.
I can if you want.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just trying to see if, essentially, what I'd be looking for is if there's a code. If it just seems like it's just read like a normal book, then, then I'll go on from there. But you feel free to read it out.
So there is a passage highlighted here, and
Okay.
it says, "Lifts her tail. Certainly not, kind sir. I'm here, but to clean your chambers." Colto, the other character, "Is that all you have come here for, little one? My chambers?" Lifts her tail. "I have no idea what you imply, master, but I am a poor Argonian maid." Colto, "So you are, my dumpling, and a good one at that. Such strong legs and shapely tail." Lifts her tail. "You embarrass me, sir." Colto, "Fear not, you are safe with me." Lifts her tail. "I must finish my cleaning, sir. The mistress will have my head if I do not." Colto, "Cleaning, eh? I have something for you here. Polish my spear." Lifts her tail. "But it's huge. It could take me all night." Colto, "Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time."
That's fantastic.
Oh gosh. Okay, who's the author?
Who is the author? That is a good question. Bum, 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 bum. Curio. Crassius Curio is the author.
Instead of Cassius Credo, Cassius Curio.
That's a weird coincidence, but it's Crassius, Crassiuscurio. And I said
Okay.
Lusty Argonian mage. I meant to say maid, but you get the idea.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there anything else on this workbench?
A couple more books. They appear to be of the same caliber.
Okay. Is there look like there'd be a spot for a secret compartment, or I just want to do like a general sweep, kind of like I looked at the other table looking for a secret compartment that someone might hide something.
Sure. Are you looking for a secret compartment on the table, or just around the room?
Yeah. Well, right now just the table.
Yeah. So just your passive perception alone, pretty simple bench. Seems to just be for reading. There's not anything that stands out to you as a switch or a lever. Just a plain old wooden reading bench.
Okay. And I guess I'll move over to these crates. Or are they all shut up with nails, or are any of them open or able to be open?
So they're all nailed up, but there are some with locks, and there are some that are not. There's barrels in the corner that don't appear to be sealed, and then there's the rugs as well. So the crates you'd need to pry open physically or pick the
I do
lock.
have a crowbar in my inventory.
You could if you want.
Yeah. I'll give that a minute. I'm gonna go those barrels.
Sure.
Yeah. Can I do like a quick test to see if they're hollow or it sounds like there's something inside? Like give them a small knock, but have my ear up to it so I can, not make a loud noise, but still check it.
Yeah. So you kind of give them a knock, and it's got a bit of a sloshing sound of liquid. It's like a full barrel of something. You don't
Gotcha.
know what liquid it is, but based on the transactions, you assume it's some sort of alcohol of some kind.
Okay. Does that seem to be the case for all the barrels?
They all seem to be holding some liquid.
Okay. And do I get a hint, a smell of alcohol?
Does Dragonborns have any sort of enhanced smelling or anything?
I don't. I don't.
Okay.
So.
I would say with the barrels and their lid on, you don't have any sense of the sort of musty nature of the cabin is more prevalent than whatever you could smell out of the barrels.
Okay. Then I'm going to move over to the rugs. So it looks like they're just kind of rolled up.
Yeah, they appear to be of very fine quality.
Okay.
It's hard to say where they came from with the patterns, but there's some sort of language written on them that you don't recognize.
So the language is not, just to make sure here, I know quite a few languages.
There appear to be pictures of snake humanoids on them, and looking at the base of it, you can tell that these rugs have been sort of dragged or maybe set down on some sort of jungle floor before.
Okay. So nothing written in Common, Draconic, Elvish, or Orc?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, can I, do they all seem like they weigh the same?
Oh yeah, they're big rugs. You would expect this to go in like a great hall or something.
Okay. I'm gonna shine my flashlight down inside the, just try to look through them.
Oh,
If I can.
in the rugs, sure. So,
Inside, yeah.
yeah, so you kind of step up on one to get a peek inside, and there's nothing really rolled up in the center aside from a rod as a centerpiece to the rug. It's, you kind of peel back the layers of the frills on the edges, and they're just tightly rolled rugs.
Okay. I'm gonna move back over to the crates. Is any of the crates there? Looking at the floor, does it look like a spot has been moved, like for a trapdoor underneath? Like, do I notice anything that would shift back and forth, or dust that maybe has moved, and you could see a line where a crate's been moved?
So you don't see any movement from the crates. The crates seem to all be placed where they're at, nothing sliding on the floor or anything. There's no scratches or anything like that on the floor.
Okay. What's underneath that chair, or is that just part of the? It looks like it's trapdoor, but I don't know.
It is indeed a trapdoor.
Okay. And then that other bookshelf.
The other bookshelf appears to be of the same sort of nature as before, just more just more logs. And like I said, this bookshelf is more of his crew and how much he
Gotcha.
pays his crew and who is on his crew and where they come from, and blackmail and dirt on them to keep them loyal.
Okay. Okay. Can I see the current crew? Can I see
Sure.
if there's a log for current crew?
So you open up the logbook, and you can tell he doesn't care about his staff. They make like very minimal, like food and drink is included, as payment for a lot of these people, shelter as well, so like boarding on the ship, and he's cared so little as to not name all of them. So it's like some of them are descriptions of people more so than the people's names. Like one of them is Wart Nose, the other one is Half Foot. There's like a bunch of just his own personal nicknames for these people, and you can see some of them have sort of skulls by their names, or have been crossed out, and you assume that this means that they have either scorned him in some way, shape, or form, or have died in the service of the Blue Suns. But yeah, there's just a big old crew of different personnel. You could see it's
Okay.
mostly just his way of keeping tabs on how many people are actually in his fleet. They're all sort
Okay.
of separated out by ships.
How many ships does he have?
He's got at least 35 ships in his fleet, all of varying size. This one here is his biggest ship that he has.
So he has 35 ships, and he's doing trade all over
Morningstar.
Nyctanthes in the
Mhm.
world, all over Morningstar. He's hit up every major waterway. He's controlling trade. He's had an issue with the Kuatoa over slat eggs.
Yep.
He's been buying and selling people and animals.
And lots of
And this is
alcohol.
Lots of alcohol. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna. Is there anything like those jars or anything? Is there anything else in the room that looks like I could investigate or might be of worthiness to check out, other than just like a decoration or something like that?
So the
Something that.
jars and everything to your right are just cleaning materials, but you do
Yeah.
think back to that trapdoor that you saw underneath the chair.
Okay. So that's the only thing I can think of there. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna check out this trapdoor.
Okay.
Is there is there anything on it that looks like it would be some sort of indication that it's been opened, like like if somebody had put a piece of tape down or a string
Give me a
down and something
perception
across.
check.
Okay. I actually just rolled a natural 20.
All right. So you run your claws very carefully along the seam, sort of making sure to keep the light from the candle to where you can see, and you see that there's like string, very small piece of string that is placed over just one of the boards and the door itself. So if you were to open the door, that string would fall off of the door.
Okay. Well, I'd like to just memorize where that piece is at,
Sure.
and then take that string and put it on the table,
Yep. No problem.
and then I'm gonna open up the trapdoor.
All right. You open up the trap door and you kind of peer down inside. It's a little dark down there, but you can still make out from the candlelight inside what it is, and it appears to be coffins.
Okay.
You can jump down if you want.
Yeah, I will. How far is that jump?
It's about as tall as you are, so no more than 8 feet or whatever it is. 7 feet.
Okay. Well, I'm actually going to produce my Echo Knight
Sure.
just right next to me right now
Okay.
in this room, and then I'm going to go down into the next room.
Okay. So you jump down, your Echo Knight stays up, and lo and behold, there's a large quantity of coffins, 2 that appear to be more wealthy than the rest.
Yeah,
Everything else
I'm gonna
is
start with
pine.
wealthy.
Okay. Which one do you want to start with? There's one on the far end, and there's one immediately next to you.
I'll start with the one right next to me. Is there a name on it?
There is. So the name on this coffin. Hang on, let me pull up my notes real quick.
Jeez. You got so much put into this, Christian. Imagine if we never even came out to this ship.
I mean, this ties in, so
Okay, good.
I know he's Parodia Magnifica is the name that is read on the coffin. Parodia Magnifica. Parodiamagnifica. Parodia Magnifica.
Do you recognize that
Magnifica
name?
rings a bell. So,
Okay.
it's one of the smallest houses of nobility here in Nyctanthes. It's the only estate that does not have a windmill. Like everyone else has these beautiful, ornate, stained glass windmills that power the city. But instead, the Magnifica Manor is important because they act as a storehouse for the electricity. So they have a very low to the ground but very big estate that sort of acts as a battery for where all the electricity is stored. So while they're not the highest of nobility, they serve a very essential service for the city.
Okay. And so this is I don't recognize this as the head of the family. I just recognize that family name.
Yes.
Okay. Can I open up the coffin?
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
not sealed or locked or anything. You open the coffin, and there's nothing and no one inside.
Is it lined with like anything, or is it just wood?
Like a red padded velvet sort of pattern all the way across it. It looks pristine, brand new. It's almost as if he's just transporting the coffin, as if they maybe purchased it or something. It doesn't look like
Okay.
it's ever been used, but you also don't know of any of the Magnifica Manor, none of the family dying or even being close to death. So it is peculiar, but maybe they're just
Okay.
planning far ahead.
Okay. And then I'll go to the coffin there on my right.
Sure. So these are nailed shut.
Is there a name on them?
There are no names on these coffins, no.
Okay. Can I knock on it to see if it sounds hollow?
Yes, you can knock on it, and it has a hollow echo to it, but there's definitely something in it. You're careful not
Okay,
to knock
that-
too loudly because you can hear above you footsteps creaking of maybe someone walking around, or maybe it's just the boat rocking in the ocean.
Okay.
You're not entirely sure.
Does it feel? Can I try to like just barely lift it up? Does it feel like heavy, like a body is inside?
You get kind of a sense of it when you lift it up, and it does feel like there's a humanoid the size of the coffin inside.
Okay. So it's heavy. Okay. I want to go down to the other coffin.
Sure. So this one is obviously more stone than anything. This is like something that you would see in an above the ground grave. Definitely the wealthiest of the wealthy, but there are no markings inscribed on it. It is completely bare, completely blank, devoid of any markings that would indicate who it belongs to or where it's going.
Okay. How would I open this thing?
It appears as if it is sealed shut, but there's obviously a lid to it, but it would take quite some force to get it off. I'm not saying it's out of the question. You could definitely make a roll for it, but it would also produce some noise, so you'd have to be prepared for someone
So-
to hear it.
I guess what I'd like to try to do is to get my crowbar out and use some leverage to just to peer inside and look in with my flashlight to see if I see anything.
Sure.
That's what I want to do. Not slide the whole thing off. I mean, if that seems like that's the only way mechanically it works,
Mm-hmm.
then I may try to just slightly get it to slide. But if it looks like I can pry up a little bit, I want to use my crowbar to try to just get some leverage to pry.
Sure. So which side are you going to try and pry this from? The long side or the short sides?
I'm gonna try from the long side, so the side that I'm facing right now.
Okay. So go ahead and wedge your crowbar under there.
Okay.
And I'm not going to ask for a strength check, but I'm going to ask for a stealth check.
Okay. I got a total of 28.
Yeah. So you slide that thing in there like it's nobody's business. Completely silent, stealthy. You slowly lift up the lid of the tomb, and you can see that there's a bit of a lip on the inside that's helping to seal this tomb. But lifting it from the side that you are, you can also tell that this is like meant to be a 2-person kind of job and be picked up from either end at the same time, so that seal, because tilting it at the current angle you are, you can get it open just enough to kind of see inside, but yet again, peering with your lightning in a can or whatever flashlight equivalent is for that in fantasy, you again see that there's nothing in the coffin. There's no body. This one is not lined or padded like the other one. It's just completely stone on the inside. There's a little rush of cold air that kind of comes out of the tomb.
Okay.
So 0 for 2 on the opening of the coffins so far.
Okay. And then I guess if I look up, do I see any other door above this one, like I did like there would be on the other side?
You do. You see like the main cargo hold sort of doors, and it's
so this is right below main cargo.
Uh-huh. Like where you're standing now, the double doors are directly above you.
Okay. Anything in this room besides coffins that I can perceive?
Nope. Just rows and rows of coffins.
Okay. On my way back, I just want to check, do a quick little wiggle of the coffins to see if any of them feel like they are empty or significantly lighter.
So upon the wiggle of the coffins on your pass, each one appears to be around the same weight. Some are maybe a little lighter than others, but not by much.
Yeah.
It's pretty negligible. They all weigh about the same.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to... How far did I travel, distance-wise, do you think?
Down the length of the ship, or?
Yeah.
I'd say it's about, I don't know, 100 gnomes.
Okay. Well, then my that would have canceled my Echo Knight up above. So I'm going to try to climb back up.
Okay. You just kind of jump
That would
and
have been too far for it.
grab the ledge, which is not a problem for you. You pull yourself up and how do I do this? Yeah. Oop. Hit the ceiling.
Just delete me and put me back in.
Hit the ceiling. I'll get this. No, I'm not gonna get it. Rawr!
Maybe I'm not as dexterous. So I'm just gonna live down here.
But no, yeah, we'll get you up there. What? I need spacebar. There it is. Detective Easter. Boom. You made it. So do you want to close the trapdoor behind you, or?
I do. I want to close the trapdoor. I want to put the
chair
string back exactly how I found it and the chair.
Sure thing. Easy enough. Done skis.
Okay. And then I'm going to do one last final sweep of the room, but I'm going to look for anything connected to the Keepers of Justice, specifically the Swords of Justice.
So the only thing that catches your attention is one of the crates is labeled weapons, and it is slated to go to the Keepers of Justice.
Is it sealed shut?
It is nailed shut, but it is not one of the locked containers.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to take my crowbar and try to open it up.
Sure. You pry it open. The nails are a little creaky, but it's no louder than the creaks of the ship.
Okay.
You peer inside, and there's just more crowbars.
Can I pick it up and inspect it?
Yeah. So it appears to be of a similar make and model of your crowbar, but maybe with a little bit more intent on it being or doubling as like a mattock, like a nightstick almost, like a utility tool, so to speak. You know that there's been lots of warrants out lately, lots of breaking into supposed criminals, speakeasies, things like that, and you gather that maybe these crowbars are to assist the Keepers of Justice in breaking into potential speakeasies more quickly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna push the lid back down on there.
Sure.
If I see a nail up, I'm just gonna try to push that back down, and I'm not gonna hammer anything, but I'm just gonna try to push it back in. So
It
the
fits
best
in
I
the it fits in the same hole it came out of, so it's not too difficult for your hands to sort of stamp it back in there. But yeah, that's
okay. Then I'm gonna try to open up another crate that's just the same way. That's not locked.
Which crate? Over here, or over there? Oh, those are two
On this side,
so.
those look like they have locks on it. I'm gonna try to open up one over here that doesn't have a lock on it as well.
So
maybe
one,
that one to the left there in the corner.
The big one, the biggest one, or the one all the way up here, the one all the way up top.
Sure, that one's fine.
Okay.
I'm just gonna just do a quick peer inside as well, just see if what else is here. Is there a label on it?
There's no label on this one, no. But you crack it open, and it appears to be full of different linens, fabrics, silks, things like that. Maybe for some sort of dress or nobility. It's like I said, not marked, not necessarily slated for anyone in particular.
Okay. And I'm gonna do a little knock on the box below me that I'm standing on. Is that hollow?
The box below you, like which?
If I was checking out that box up top.
Oh, the biggest
box. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you knock on the biggest box, and it seems about half full. It's hard to say what's in there, but it seems to be sort of more at the bottom of the crate.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I found any information here that's really going to help me out, but I don't want to go just busting into every box here. Sounds like I'll have to get more information later. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to make my way back out the way that I came in.
All right. Make your way back out onto the opposite of the bow.
Yep. And I close the door.
Door's closed.
And then, great. It's still nighttime, right?
It is still nighttime.
Okay. And if I peer back over to the side, is that officer still over there? I saw that guard would I be able to see him from where I'm at here?
You mean from like right here, and you're talking
Yeah.
about like off in the distance over there?
Yeah. I don't even know if I could see that far, but
Uh, you can see what you can see on my screen. How about that?
okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around to the other side of the ship,
Okay.
and I'm just going to try to I'm gonna produce my Echo Knight.
Sure.
And so right now I'm just gonna have him produce, and he's going to be down just below the surface of the water.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna switch places with him, and then I'm going to swim my way back to shore.
So right about here. So yeah, you're gonna swap places with them and then just swim back to shore.
Yeah.
Where
that's
where
what
do
I
you
wanna
want to come up when you swim back to shore?
So starting off, I want to just try to get away from the boat where I'm only popping up, just a little bit to get a breath,
Sure.
and then I'm gonna try to go around, if I can, the back side of all the other ships. So I'm not coming here right at the middle, but towards
Over here.
Over where the ship of the Keepers of Justice was at.
Sure.
I'm basically going to be swimming towards that.
Okay. Yeah, you're swimming along. You make it back around the back of the Keepers of Justice ship. And you see you can either come up sort of over where the market is. There's a couple fishing barges out, but it's mostly quiet. Imagine all these tarps are pulled down, the market's closed. There's some guards walking around. You can't make out any definitive marks on them or anything. And you hear a light patrol up on the Keepers of Justice boat above you. But you can either kind of go under the bridge and then crawl up, or continue around, or just crawl up on the dock.
So I'm gonna go to where that dock is, but I'm gonna stay underneath it,
Sure.
and then I'm gonna produce my Echo Knight
Mm-hmm.
up onto the bridge.
Okay. Right about here.
Yep.
All right. And then trade places with them, I assume?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit there and kind of wait till or at least I would wait. Yeah, I guess I already produced him. Yeah, just trade places with him.
Sure.
So, and then I'm gonna walk away.
All right. So you walk away like it's no big deal. You're a detective. You're allowed to be out. There's no curfew or anything. It's not unusual for a detective to be searching things. But you are still wet from the swim, so your clothes are soaked. And where are you headed? Are you making your way back to the courtroom, or are you going somewhere else?
So knowing that my clothes are soaked, is there somewhere where I would easily get them dried, or somewhere I could go get a I don't know how many outfits that I have, but
You
would I have?
could maybe go to the inn and see if there's some clothes there, or if there's a spell, or you could go all the way back to the Tundraka district, but that's a bit of a hike.
Bit of a hike. Okay. Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my Echo Knight thing again to get on top of the market again.
Sure. Okay.
And then I'm gonna try to get all the way to the very top.
All right. You're up at the top.
Okay. Now that I'm up here, I'm gonna use again. I'm gonna use my key point to activate my or I guess I don't have to use it. I just have to activate that. Let me make sure I can. No, I have to activate the. I'm gonna activate Step of the Wind, so I use dash, and then I'm gonna activate my wings unfurled, so it's spectral wings, and I'm going to fly at double my speed to try to drive myself off, and I'm going to go over towards the park.
Sure. Yeah. So, let's make you fly.
Just yeet me over there.
Woo! But yeah, you fly over the park, and you notice maybe some people in the park, but they seem rather preoccupied. But your clothes are beginning to maybe dry a little bit. They're still damp, but the flight, the dash has definitely taken most of the dripping away. It's just kind of an uncomfortable cold now, is all. No one by looks would be able to necessarily tell that you had been swimming, but if they were to touch you, they would know that your clothes were at least damp.
Okay. Well, I'd like to land then, and then I'm going to walk back to the courthouse.
Okay. So you make your way back to the courthouse. Is there a particular path you want to take? You just want to take the main streets? You want to...
I'm okay with taking the main streets now. Sure. So hopefully I dry up a little bit along the way.
Yeah.
But if I don't, that's fine.
So as you're crossing the courtyard at night, you sort of approach the gallows, past the gallows, and who opens the doors to the Hall of Justice but
Sir Barristan.
Barristan himself. So he sort of opens the doors double-handed like Aragorn, real
Perfect.
real dramatic, and sort of shakes his head, and you see his mane kind of rustle, and he says, "Detective Easter, we're just
Sword
calling for
Barristan.
you."
I apologize. I had lost track of time for the recess. I am ready to join back in, and I shall give anything that the court needs of me.
I don't believe that a detective lost track of time. Are you sure there's not something you want to tell me?
Well, Sir Barristan, you know how this city is. Crime never stops. When a detective gets a hunch, I gotta keep searching for all the details here. Seems like funny business with these zoo warriors coming into town. I got to make sure that no more funny business is happening here in our good city.
Is there anything I could assist you with?
Not at this moment, Sir Barristan. But if I find something, I shall come to you.
Just know, Detective Easter, you can trust me.
Thank you, Sword Barristan.
Let us return. So he sort of turns around and goes inside the
Follow.
Hall of Justice. All right. You guys are led inside, and you can see the surprise of some of the people inside the court as to Sir Barristan obviously had just left. But yet, here you come. So it's as if you were merely in the lobby the entire time, and you enter the courthouse and sit down in your usual spot.
Oh.
You see...
Hey, Soul, do you got any snacks?
Well, yes, I got this wonderful barbecue, but I already ate it. Sorry.
Oh.
We've been here 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always one bit out of my grasp. This free barbecue, I shall always pay for it for eternity.
If you take offense next time, I swear it.
I more so am interested in what kind of business cards both Soul and Detective Easter have.
I'll put together a business card and
please do.
I'll send that.
We can have a American Psycho kind of conversation about paperweight.
Oh,
and...
that'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Mine overheat if you don't use them enough.
That's why they get drawn out of the box. They don't want them to overheat.
That's why I win every time.
But you can see the expression of relief that Detective Easter's back in the courthouse. Tony seems kind of flustered, and High Justice Ginsburg bangs her gavel and demands order in the court. The crowd sort of settles down. The murmurings and side conversations cease. And Tony addresses High Justice Ginsburg. High Justice Ginsburg, may we continue the trial now that Detective Easter has rejoined us? Yes, you may begin. Very well. The final order in today's proceedings is probably the most egregious charge brought against the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2, but it is one of first-degree murder against the Restless Knights, the heroes of Frogspear. I would first like to call Tyrell to the stand.
Here we go.
All right. So Tony approaches you once more. Tyrell, what evidence did you have that compelled you to hunt down and kill the Restless Knights?
You're asking me what evidence do I possess?
What was your motivation for killing these Restless Knights? What was the reason? Is there something you uncovered or discovered about the Restless Knights that would lead you to this endeavor? Or was it merely as simple as a murder could be? You just killed them in cold blood.
There's never a simple murder.
Then please elaborate.
They were racist.
The Restless Knights were racist. Against what race in particular?
Does it matter? Any kind of racism is bad.
I would agree racism is bad, but I would like to get into, your perspective. Did you just dislike racism that much that you were willing to kill them over racism?
No, but their racism is what fueled them to attack the town, so we actually wanted to stop them. Our endeavors were heroic.
So you're saying that the Restless Knights just woke up one day and decided to attack the city that they had been protecting for the last 5 years?
What evidence do you have that they were protecting a city?
It's well documented that they fought off hordes of Kuatoa that were attempting to attack the city and gain a foothold in the area.
And there lies in the racism issue.
So you're saying that they are racist against Kuatoa?
Quite.
Do you think that maybe they just had a disagreement, not founded on race, more so on survival?
I don't believe so. They had actual posters of hate, and we ran into a few that actually had Kuatoa locked in cages.
Can you produce these posters of hate?
I'm sure we could.
But can you? No. Do you have any with you? Can you describe to the court what these posters said?
There wasn't any words per se, but essentially, if you've ever seen Ghostbusters, there's a red circle with a slash in it over a Kuatoa face.
I see. So, with your line of reasoning that these Restless Knights were racist against their enemy that they were fighting against, does that mean that you are racist towards the Restless Knights?
No, that's an illogical path of reasoning and thought there.
They are a different race than you. They are actually comprised of a number of different species, everything from a rat and a boar to Kinku and a hobgoblin. So you're saying, as a drow, you didn't have any sort of racial prejudice against these restless knights. You just chose to attack them because they were racist towards.
No. The racism, like we can put that aside for the moment. The real reasons was around their slave selling and trafficking of the Kuatoa and others that we ran into.
I see. So when you encountered Hob for the first time, where were you?
My memory flees me on that exact moment.
I would imagine meeting someone, especially of Hob's status, whether in your eyes good or bad, would leave an impression on you. You're saying that you don't recall the first time you met this character.
Not particularly. I mean, it must have been in the city, though. I mean, that's where our interactions were.
So the first time you met Hob was in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, did you talk to Hob at all about anything? Did you try and come to a peaceful resolution? Did you ask him about his interaction with the Kuatoa? How did you obtain this knowledge that he was racially motivated to eradicate?
Essentially asking anyone around the town.
So hearsay, rumors.
Not rumors. Literal. Anyone we talked to in the city explained that they knew of what was going on with the trafficking and the slaves, and we actually literally ran into them with caged slaves.
Did you ever happen to get an account of why these creatures or people, humanoids, were in these cages? Is it possible that these creatures or humanoids were in fact dangerous or criminals that they had apprehended?
No information on that, but regardless, it seemed like a very inhumane way to transport any type of being of living stature.
I'm sure there's lots more humane ways to transport potential criminals and murderers, but
Well, no one said that they were. All we could tell were.
and that's why I said they're potentially. You are correct in that you cannot provide any evidence that they were otherwise, and I cannot either.
Well, while I don't have the physical evidence, I can tell you we did see sheets on postings of missing people, in which some we actually did find in cages under that lake. Ones that were
Under
decently
the
well known, not criminal.
under the lake?
In the cages.
In the cages under the lake. Where is under the lake?
Well, as in under the lake, meaning there was a underground facility full of these cages.
Where was this underground facility? You said under the lake? How is that possible?
Have you ever gone swimming?
I have been swimming, yes, many times back when I had my legs.
I guess I don't understand the question.
I-
There was a structure, a storage building essentially, that was hidden under the lake.
And this was the property of the Restless Knights.
It was at least used by them.
And you're saying that you found these missing persons that were on these postings in these cages down below?
Mm-hmm.
Were these missing persons posters wanted posters?
No. These were family members looking for their lost family or friends.
Did you free these people? Did you...
We attempted. There were, unfortunately, other items coming at us, such as the Restless Knights, to attack and destroy us. So we tried as well as we could until the actual building collapsed and it all came in on us.
So you encountered the Restless Knights in this underground storage facility, but you didn't encounter Hob down there.
Hob was in the city.
Hob was in the city, but he was not underground. So who of the Restless Knights was underground?
Well, his goons.
can you describe these goons? What did they look like? Were they preventing you from getting these people out of these cages, or?
I mean, eventually, yes. I never remember a face.
That is quite the curse, Tyrell. I am sorry you can never remember a face. So you're saying there were people affiliated with the Restless Knights, though you cannot name those people or describe their appearance to me, and they prevented you from helping these people escape, and you said that this facility collapsed on you?
Correct. And whether that was initiated by the Restless Knights or some other being, unsure. But um, the names that come to mind, since it's not the faces I remember, were Ra and Jock, Walberat, Jackaware. If any of those ring any bells.
Yes. So there were a number of the Restless Knights, as I said, of varying races that belong to this heroic group, but were those the three that were down below that were preventing you from escaping and collapsed this facility of theirs in on itself?
I believe so.
So how did you escape this underwater death trap?
We actually had to get up out under from, it was quite the ways underwater, so lots of pressure, if you can imagine, is exponential the further you go down under the water. And a few of us had to hold breath to run up if we could. Others had to use functions of magic or creating air balloons in order to surface before we stopped breathing.
Did you attempt to save any of the captives as this was flooding, or can I assume that everyone down there has perished?
They've unfortunately perished as we saw them animated by animated, or I guess you could say remote controlled. I'm losing the word. Essentially controlled by the Restless Knights in order to attack us. So they were beyond saving from our comprehension. We had very limited time, so we were unfortunately not able to save anyone.
So I'm sorry, I'm confused. After the chambers flooded, the Restless Knights somehow reanimated the bodies to then attack you underwater?
Right, improper term. They were not deceased at the time. They were in captivity. They were then possessed, I should say, is the better word, to be controlled by the Restless Knights to attack us.
So the Restless Knights forced these people in cages against their will to attack you to prevent you from doing what?
Well, releasing them.
So the people you were attempting to release from the cages were the very ones fighting you to make sure that they stayed in those cages?
Not necessarily stayed in the cages. I mean, that they had no control of their own.
Do you have an idea of what kind of control was brought over them? Was this a spell or merely a bribe?
Oh, definitely not a bribe. This was not of their own will. They had no control over this. This would have been a spell of some sort.
Interesting. I have just one more batch of questions for you. The Shield Guardian that you were seen fighting across the city, the one that belonged to Hob, a very well-known deterrent for any Kuatoa or trouble in the city. Do you know what became of the control medallion that Hob possessed, or what became of the Shield Guardian itself?
Well, the Shield Guardian itself was used to mutilate and destroy an entire city.
Yes,
under the control of Hob.
After all of the chaos that ensued, after you had killed Hob, what happened to the Shield Guardian, and did you know what happened to the control medallion that was in his possession?
We were unaware of a control medallion.
But when you left Frogspear, the Shield Guardian was still just stagnant in the destroyed city. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, after we destroyed Hob, that was kind of the end of it.
I see. I have no further questions for Tyrell. If the defense would like to continue, they may. But I have another witness to call to the stand. So, High Justice sort of turns to the defense and says, "Do you care to interview Tyrell before we move on to the next eyewitness?"
Yes, they do.
Who would care to talk to Tyrell?
Yeah, let me talk to him.
All right. Ranger Steve approaches.
Tyrell, as you said, you mentioned we spoke to a lot of people within the city about how they were under the assumption and knew of that the Restless Knights were doing, some pretty illegal sounding stuff, trafficking people, and they seemed, if I remember correctly, they were just scared of the Restless Knights throughout the city. They knew what was going on, but there was a sense of unease of ever being approached by them. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I mean they're completely mortified and in a way they knew they didn't have the power to uprise, so to speak. I mean they didn't have a way without simply being locked away in a cage. That's literally what was happening.
And so, upon leaving the lake, what did you see in the city? From a distance, what did you see happening in the city?
You see a giant Titan creature of enormous stature heading towards the city.
And what did you do? What did the group do?
What I remember is obviously we've just come from running for our lives in a horror battle not battle, but a horror scene in the under depths of the storage unit there with the slaves, and all we were thinking was we need to get to the beach, and all we weren't aware of what was we were about to see with the massive robotic remotely controlled creature running towards the city. But once we got there, that's when we realized, oh, okay, this is we have someone controlling this, and that's when shit went down.
Did you or your group physically knock the buildings down and cause mass destruction?
No, absolutely not. How we would have no way of doing that. But what would have and what did is the giant mechanoid Titan. I'm going to refer to it as a Titan.
So no one in the group has the ability to basically decimate a city, correct?
Well, that would be a surprise if there was. So yeah, I don't think so.
So the group faced Hob in the street, correct?
Oh yeah.
And after Hob was defeated, the Titan stopped.
Exactly, and that's how we knew, and that's how we put the two together. That that was being controlled by him, because as soon as he fell to his knees, there was no more chaos from the Titan.
Okay. Is there anything else you can remember from the battle or the scene?
Yeah, if there was anything, I know old Billy has a lot of a bad for his name over his time there, and there's not really, there's a lot that's not really anything we can defend. He's made some poor choices, and you see where he's at now. He did sacrifice himself for the good, so I think in the end he tried to do what was best. But during that battle, Billy actually attempted to do all he could to deter the Titan, and while it may not have turned out the best, as the city was still massively destroyed, I wouldn't put that on someone who was literally trying to run the Titan away and try to reduce the destruction. But of course, outside of our power, as we've mentioned, Hob was the one controlling and who we had to destroy to stop the ensue and future chaos.
No further questions.
Your Honor, I have follow-up questions for Tyrell now that certain things have been brought to light. Tyrell, you said that Billy Banger was the one attempting to get the attention of the Shield Guardian. You made it sound as if he was somehow also responsible for the destruction of the town?
Inadvertently. I mean, he did all he could to deter him away. That was his plan.
There are eyewitness accounts of him flying on some sort of chromatic disc. Is this correct? Is that how he got the attention of the Shield Guardian?
That is correct. That was the best attempt at trying to get him there while the rest of us had to try to put out a fire and then eventually fight Hob. So he was doing his best to be the distraction unit for the Titan to have him go after him rather than stopping us or infiltrating any further the city.
And this distraction, unfortunately, resulted in the destruction of all the structures in this third of Frogspear, minus the pointy stick, or now known the Golden Blueberry.
I don't know the detailed accounts, but I'm sure that's well known. Yeah.
I see. No further questions, Your Honor. Tyrell, you can return. Tony calls Bastion, the former barkeep of the Pointy Stick and current barkeep of the Golden Blueberry. So this is the friend of the Kuatoa, the barkeep that you establish in the city. Tony approaches, says, Bastion, how did you first meet the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2? Well, I happened to be in the rough and tumble part of the scuffle with them and the Shield Guardian. Fortunately, my establishment, my sturdy establishment, survived the aftermath. And when they had nowhere else to go for their celebratory drinks, they came to me. I see. So your building was the only structure left standing after this rampage that occurred. That is correct. I helped build it myself. I believe that's why it's still standing. I'm sure it's a very finely crafted building. Have you ever felt threatened by the Kuatoa or the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2? Hell, the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2? Nah, them guys are alright. There was a time when I was a little scared of the Kuatoa, and forgive me, I admittedly had my entire life thinking that they were evil creatures. And I may have seen some violence acted upon one Kuatoa to another in my establishment, but now that they're under the control of that Tug character over there, it's brought prosperous business for me, and they've established quite the rehabilitation in Frog Spear, I must say. So, they made you their business partner? Is that fair to say? Well, yes, I provide blueberry wine for them. I see. Thus the new name of the blueberry, the golden blueberry from the pointy stick. Can you tell me why your bar was previously called the Pointy Stick? Well, it's an unfortunate name, and I was named that before I knew the truth of the Kuatoa, but it's common practice that on a ship you carry a bunch of pointy sticks to stave off the Kuatoa if they were to attack your barge. I see. So you did a 180 on these Kuatoa. That's quite the endorsement from someone like you. You said you saw violence perpetrated from Kuatoa to another Kuatoa? Yes, this was before I truly knew them, but they performed a wonderful song in my establishment, and unfortunately, they did not apparently record it, and one of the Kuatoa very swiftly dealt with the negligence of the other Kuatoa by spilling his fish blood on my establishment floor, but I have not seen any more acts of violence, and Tug was very shocked to see this act of violence, and he scolded his Kuatoa and told them no more. I see. So there is violent nature in these creatures that you've witnessed, but you're saying that Tug has control of these violent creatures. Yes, I believe he does. Just a few more questions for you, Bastian. Did you witness any of the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2 kill Hob? The actual act, the finishing, the final blow of killing Hob? No, I did not. And were you sad to see Hob die? I mean, what is your perspective on Hob before all of this? Is there ever any sort of question or rumors around the city of Hob being a criminal or doing criminal activity? I mean, this man staved off and fought the Kuatoa from invading this section of the Frog Spear, and now they've done just that. They are in Frog Spear. Hob is dead. Do you not think that this was a catalyst for that? That Hob being killed made room for the Kuatoa to move in? That essentially this Shield Guardian was led around to level the ground and make the land fertile for people to move in? It just seems like it's a rather curious circumstance that a hero of Frogspear was murdered, and the one thing that he fought to keep away from the city is now established right where he fought a number of battles. I think there's a lot of assumptions, and you can never really know a person. And, yeah, Hob was a good warrior and saved us from the Kuatoa before I was enlightened to their capabilities, but Hob wasn't perfect. He got paid in protection fees, would go around, and whether it be in the form of some free drinks at my bar or food at other establishments or fine clothes, yes, he took advantage of his position, but I can't blame him for it. He deserved to be treated as such. But no, he was not a perfect guardian. Just the one we needed. I have no further questions for Datloff. The defense may interview. Bastian, sorry, not Datloff. Would the defense care to interview Bastian?
Yeah, Steve wants to ask him a couple questions.
Sure thing.
Sebastian, you said you grew up under the impression that the Kuatoa were bad and that the Restless Knights and Hob saved the city. Did you have any eyewitness accounts of the Kuatoa attacking, or was it all hearsay?
Well, yes, there were multiple attacks on the barges. The shipments would come back sometimes with missing crew. And then there were full-fledged assaults in other times, which is why Hob procured the Shield Guardian to intimidate the Kuatoa from making landfall. They would usually attack at night, seeing as they're sensitive to the sun. But there were many a times I awoke to the screams of people as the Kuatoa set fire to some of the businesses on the edge of the river.
Prior to Hob and the Restless Knights having control of the city, who was in charge?
Well, Frogspear is more of a collection of people. It's at the crossroads of 3 different continents, so it's quite the location for meeting up. There's not per se any law out there like the Keepers of Justice here. It's more just frontier justice. And Hob came in and provided that protection and that safety we didn't have.
Why do you think he would do something like that for a very prosperous trade route? Do you think he might have wanted to have control of the area?
I got the sense that he enjoyed being a leader, a hero in a sense, a marshal, a dealer of justice, but I think his initial desire was survival. He was tired of living in the slums and being on the outskirts where the Kuatoa attacked most frequently. So he just decided to rise up and started the Restless Knights with a band of other misfits, and they rose to fame and slowly gained traction with the locals and became heroes.
So after they kind of took control of the city, everything seemed, well protected from the Kuatoa. Were there any differences in the perception of the Restless Knights there forward? Upon our entering the city, we learned from you and from other people in the city and bars we went to and taverns, and we learned that there was some shady stuff that they were doing through their trade routes, and it kind of seemed to us that these things were just kind of looked past a little bit by the townfolk of Frogspear. You being, a barkeep, had to have heard some of these rumors, heard some talks about this stuff. Can you shed any light on that?
I, of course, heard rumors, but never saw much validation. The only thing I ever witnessed was his exploitation of the services of the people. He felt that he was owed something for the protection that he provided, so as I said before, he helped himself to meals and food and goods across the third of the Frogspear. But I never witnessed any of these shady dealings. Not personally.
But you heard about them.
As I said, I heard many a rumor of many a people, but I personally never witnessed him.
Okay. No more questions.
All right. Before you can even get back, Tony says, I'd like to call Ranger Steve to the stand. You may stay, Ranger Steve.
Okay.
Brum, brum, brum. Where are my questions? Ah. Your companion, Tyrell. He said that you discovered a secret facility that was containing these creatures, these captors against their will. Who first educated you on the secrets of the Restless Knights? Who let you in that there was something shady going on, supposedly, with the Restless Knights? Was there a contact, a person?
Well, pretty much every person we talked to in town had some idea of what the Restless Knights were doing. You know, sort of saying, things went missing, people went missing, and they could pretty much procure any type of creature that you may want. So, after hearing a lot of these testimonies from different people across the city, we got connected with a theater patron. I don't remember his name at the moment. And
Public record shows that the Magic Window was the theater, and its owner was a man named Palm.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Palm had a little more information regarding the Restless Knights, and he directed us in the location of some of the trade dealings, I suppose, in the city, some of the back alleys, where we identified the location of the underground tunnel system under the lake. And then from there, I agree with what Tyrell said.
So you seem to recall when you surfaced, there was one building in particular that Hob was attacking. What was the first building that Hob attacked?
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't tell you. We were pretty far away when we surfaced in the lake after escaping, and all we could see was that a giant robot was wreaking havoc on the city.
I see.
But I couldn't tell you where he was directing.
Unfortunately, one of the buildings destroyed was the Magic Window. A Manticore actually happened to escape from this theater, and illegal capture of a Manticore. I assume there was some sort of purpose, entertainment-wise, that Palm had planned for this creature. Do you know the fate of Palm, by chance? What happened to Palm? Did you ever encounter him again?
No. Not that I remember. I assume maybe he perished when the Titan wreaked havoc on the city.
So you never came across Palm again, but you also never came across his remains. So it is potential that he's alive, that he made it out. Did he advise you against going after the Restless Knights? Was he afraid of his life for some reason? For his life?
Well, based on his pretty extensive knowledge on the Restless Knights, I assume he had some dealings with them as well. I can't imagine a manticore is easily obtained, and based on what we knew, is that the Restless Knights could obtain such creatures as that. So, I mean, he seemed a little scared of the Restless Knights, and I assume maybe a deal went south for him, but that's as far as I can tell you about him.
Do you think perhaps that this palm was smearing the name of the Restless Knights?
I mean, that could be true, but it doesn't account for the other people we spoke with in the city that directed us in the direction of the wrongdoings of the Restless Knights. He wasn't the only person we talked to who seemed scared and had some idea of what they were doing.
So you attacked the Restless Knights on the grounds that the general public, from your perspective, was afraid of these Restless Knights, that their protectors had somehow become their captors.
Well, if you have listened to Tyrell's story, he never said we attacked the Restless Knights until we saw them destructing the town.
So
Our intention was not to attack and to kill the Restless Knights. We were merely investigating what we heard throughout the city.
And that investigation led you to the underground chambers, and then you surfaced from said underground chambers, and for some reason Hob was destroying the city. Do you have any idea what the motivation for Hob to destroy the city may have been, or why?
When we were under the lake, and I'm assuming it was Hob, or maybe his other goons, animated the souls that we found in those cages to attack us. We heard a voice. It could have been Hob. It could have been one of the others to attack us. Obviously, they were upset that we found out what they were doing. So I imagine the fact that we escaped unharmed from under the lake, that could have been some sort of motivation for them to just lay waste to the city.
But why would Hob and his companions destroy the very city that they are supposedly taking advantage of? I mean, you don't bite the hand that feeds you, so the phrase goes.
I mean, I agree, but we popped out of the water and saw them destroying the city. We don't know why. All we did was try to stop it.
Interesting. I have no further questions. Your Honor, I would like to call one Blibdupulip, one Kuatoa of Blibdupulip's choosing, to the stand. Blibdupulip, is there a Kuatoa among your group that would be willing to provide eyewitness testimony?
Absolutely, any of them. Any of them would do. Who volunteers?
Costco.
So there is a Kuatoa in the very front row that just steps into the aisle and sort of puts both hands up in the air. The salute of the Kuatoa. He's sort of holding his hands there, awaiting the acceptance of his god.
Okay. Kayak.
Kayak.
Yeah, kayak.
Kayak runs forward, like sort of jogging, runs up to the stand, and sits. Tony approaches. Tug, you will be playing your Kuatoa, so answer as one of your followers. Once again, can you share with the court what your name is?
So these Kuatoa, how well can they speak? Or is this all up to me?
So this one is part of your missionary group and is trained in Common. So it doesn't speak great Common, but it speaks kind of broken Common.
Okay.
It's like a mix between Undercommon and Common. So it's translatable.
I mean, I'll try that. I'm not as creative as you, but
You're fine. Just go with the flow.
So, Kaya.
Kayak. Can you tell us a little bit more about your god, Blibdoopulip?
Great God.
What makes him great?
Wonderful. Power.
Power makes him great?
Love.
Love.
Carry.
Power, love, and caring makes your god great. Do you follow a set of commandments placed on you by your god? Are there rules, guidelines for you to follow?
People have laws.
But Kuatoa don't have laws.
Kuatoa have laws.
I have here, based on one of your flyers that your missionaries hand out, the commandments of Blibdoopulip. Are these commandments the correct commandments of Blibdoopulip? And he hands Kayak the long list of commandments.
Are you gonna text something to me, or am I just supposed to take your word for it?
I mean, do you have your commandments pulled up, or do I need to send them to you?
No, I have my commandments pulled up, but I don't have the commandments that Jackass.
Tony walks over and shows Tug the commandments. Blibdoopulip, are these the commandments that you set forth? And he shows you a list of the exact commandments that you have given your missionaries. Please inspect and let the court know that this list is the commandments that you yourself hand to your missionaries to spread the word and gospel of Blibdoopulip. You can see the paper, and while you've never necessarily seen a physical copy, you know that your missionaries are in charge of spreading the word of Blibdoopulip, and all of the commandments are as you spoke them on the paper.
Okay. As long then
They're exact. I mean, I'm looking at the list on the notes that we took, so that is the list that I'm showing you.
I mean, that's fine. As long as you're not trying to pull something. I guess
I'm not.
is all
I'm not.
Yeah,
Tony,
sure.
Your
Yeah,
Honor, I am going to call forth this information from this sheet, verified by Blibdoopulip himself, that these are the commandments he set forth for his Kuatoa people.
We don't need to go through all these, Christian. I believe you. If you're saying that.
I am not going to go through all of them. I merely have footnotes that I'm going to ask Kayak here. Kayak.
Okay.
Commandment 4, there's a line. Forever be loyal and obedient, or suffer eternal agony. Was eternal damnation part of your belief system before your God appeared, or only after he established this?
Always Blibdoopulip have damnation.
So you were always doomed to eternal damnation if you brought a like upon the scorn of Blibdoopulip. If you did wrong by Blibdoopulip, you were subject to eternal torment and damnation. Are you a loyal and obedient Kuo-toa, Kick?
Oh, to my end. To my end. Hail, Tug, Blibdoopulip, God Savior of the Kuo-toa.
Kick, in Commandment 6, it states, rape and pillage no more. This commandment must only exist because there was a time when you raped and pillaged. Were you part of the raiding parties that used to attack Frogspear?
Rape, pillage, no more.
No more. So you did at one point rape and pillage, though, is my question. In a former life, before your god came to you and enlightened you to a new and better world, you, the Kuo-toa, raped and pillaged, yes?
Defend our kind. Evil come, try to kill and catch. We retaliate.
So the people of Frogspear, they came to your home, your city, and attacked you?
Yes. Long time ago, Kuo-toa roam free, live in world. Evil people come. They kill and persecute. Oh, that's a big word for a Kuo-toa. I thought I was doing all right. That slipped up on that one. Hide in caves and darkness to stay away. Yet people still come and attack Kuo-toa. Blibdoopulip, save us, bring us into light. Work with people now. We rebuild.
Are you not naturally nocturnal creatures? The sun, it hurts you, does it not?
Blibdoopulip, he savior and or she savior. Tug, he now walk in daylight.
Interesting choice of words. That does bring me to another question I had for you. Do you see your god Blibdoopulip as more of a mother or father figure?
Objection. Not unnecessary questioning.
On what grounds is it unnecessary?
Where is this leading?
She turns to Tony, and Tony says, I will elaborate. When Tug, your god Blibdoopulip, came to you, and I may ask for the confirmation from his party members, was he merely a man?
Are you asking me or the party?
I am asking the party, Tug himself, and the Kuo-toa. Before Tug, who you now know as Blibdoopulip, was proclaimed your god, was he a man before and became your god and by proxy a woman? Is this true?
Always been God. Did not know. Only one Purgeon are only one have power inside. Tug come, prove power. Always God.
Tyrell, does this satisfy you in my line of reasoning?
Are we allowed to just ask anybody questions now off the stand, Your Honor?
I'm merely asking for verification.
I had objected, but he went through it, I suppose, in a respectful and logical manner. So I'll rescind my objection.
Thank you, Tyrell. Cake. Why did you attack Frogspear all those years ago? Is it part of your culture, something that your people called Wellspringa?
Misguided traditions.
So, Tug or Blibdupula put a stop to your Wellspringa.
And started.
And started your What can you elaborate what Wellspringa is then and what it is now?
Always party.
Did this party include rape and pillaging?
Oh yeah, very much.
I see.
But no more. Rape
But-
and pillage, no more.
Per Commandment 6, no more rape and pillage, I see. You are indeed a very devout Kuatoa. Just a couple more questions for you, Kick. Commandment 17 says a statue shall be erected in his image as Blibdupulip.
All hell, Blibdu, pull up.
Have you ever been asked to construct a statue of Blibdupulip before, or is this the first time?
No. Big statue.
So there are other statues of Blibdupulip.
All hell, Blibdu, pull up.
Are there or are there not multiple statues of Blibdupulip?
All hell, Blibdu, pull up. Yeah. Big statues.
Can I ask, did you build this statue in Blibdupulip's image on something else? Did you build it from the ground up, or was there a framework laid out for you that you...
Like new civilization from ground up. We build together.
From ground up. So every piece of the new statue of Blibdupulip was produced by you, the Kuatoa.
We build. Ground up. New civilization. All hell, Blibdu, pull up.
I see. As proof of the pamphlet here, and you learning to speak common, which I'm very impressed at, are you...
Blibdu, pull up gives power to all.
With Blibdupulip giving power to all, does Blibdupulip have plans to spread his knowledge, his wealth to the rest of the continent?
Yeah, I train very hard in all hell, Blibdu, pull up. He give me my strength.
And what do you train to do? To spread the gospel of Blibdupulip?
Spread the message. Spread the good word. Bring in new fish. Make school bigger.
Is it just fish that you're looking to bring in, or is it people as well?
All Blibdu, pull up. Love for all.
Has Blibdupulip ever bore children with the Kuatoa by chance?
We all hit children. We all her children.
But has Blibdupulip ever reproduced with the Kuatoa?
We are Blibdu, pull up's children. We all are reproduced of Blibdu, pull up.
Are you familiar with the story of the birds and the bees? Do you know how Kuatoa reproduce?
Yeah, yes. Every 5 years. This hard commandment. School study hard, Blip. I know commandments.
I'm
This is the best of the best of the best, sir.
I don't mean to put you in the spot,
Did
Kate.
not know me question on commandments.
So
Oh, man.
Tony kind of turns to the the blind jury and Tug and says, I'm sorry, Kayak, are you afraid of something right now? You seem
Commemorate! Spotty Pool shall be split in 50 groups. Every 5 years, strongest of the Kuatoa females will breed with the smartest of the Kuatoa males. I know commandment.
very good, very good. I won't pressure you anymore. I can see that you're under a lot of duress to answer correctly. But
It is my job. I head missionary.
head missionary, I see. As your job of head missionary, you very obviously know your commandments. Is it, as I said before, has Blibdoopulip ever spread their seed with the Kuatoa? Is there a
From beginning, Godmother, come and raise her children. We all seed of Blibdoopulip. Blibdoopulip loves all.
I see. Is there anything prophesied about Blibdoopulip giving birth to a new Messiah, a new child? Have you ever heard of anything like this from your legend or
No?
the gospel of Blibdoopulip?
No. I studied in New Gospel. Old Gospel, man, very old. Not here.
I see. Just one final question, Kayak, and then I will let you go. Or if any of your companions have questions, you can ask them. I do appreciate you giving such exact answers. Does Blibdoopulip ever talk about his father?
Objection.
I stand down, Your Honor. The defense may ask questions of Kayak if they'd like. Defense?
I think he did a perfect job. No questions.
I would like to question.
Okay, I want to see this.
You're waiting for it. Like, come on, it's.
I mean, come on, guys. I can't. I can't do that question myself and answer.
Hey man, I've been
does
doing it the whole time.
You
Do
are
it. Do it.
guys. I can't. I'm not talented
No,
enough.
this is your chance to make yourself look like a hero. Ask about all the wonderful things about Blibdoopulip.
Kayak, my child. It softens my heart to see you. All hell, Blibdoopulip. Children love Godmother. Could you describe life for a normal Kuatoa? You know, before I came around. Oh, life bad. Darkness, loneliness, clampness, danger, scared. Evil people keep coming. Take us away, never seen again. All hell, Blibdoopulip, bring us out of darkness. We in world now. We rebuild. We rebuild and show greatness. That's good. That's good. You know, in your opinion, the Electric Boogaloo 2, have they ever done anything that could Blibdoopulip and followers perfect people, good people, do good things. They bring peace to world, make school stronger. They Spear, save Kuatoa. Love Blibdoopulip. That's great to hear. Absolutely great to hear. I mean, people have questioned, you know, the intentions of the Kuatoa and the raping and pillage. I mean, wouldn't you say that all cultures have had history of raping and pillaging, and only when they get good, strong leadership do they rise out of this barbaric behavior? Oh, perfect. Blib do pull up perfect leader. Perfect leader. Strong, smart, beautiful. That's great.
Your
I can't
Honor, let it be known, I, I that obviously the religious follower of a god is going to agree and spread the positivity of his said leader.
I mean, let it be known that sometimes the truth just needs to be heard. You know, I mean, this is a perfect example of truth right here.
Your Honor, if I may address the courts,
Yes.
I do not believe that all truth has been told here tonight. I have it on good authority that the Kuatoa have now invaded the city of Edgewood.
There's a couple gasps from the crowd behind.
A report delivered to me by other detectives of Nyctanthes have informed me that Kuatoa have descended upon Edgewood. There was some concern that kobolds and an emerald dragon might return to Edgewood. We had been warned by Kuatoa traveling with the party of the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2, and I had to ensure that that would not happen. And in doing so, they found the Kuatoa had occupied the city of Edgewood. I believe that they have not gone there to, spread peace and love. It seems that they have occupied the town, and the report is that, even they have occupied their. I believe that Tug, Blib Dupulup, needs to answer for this here today.
Blibdu,
So,
pull up. Is this true?
Would this not qualify for a bit of mistrial? This was not brought to us at the beginning of the case. If this is actions occurring now, this should be a separate, altogether accusation and trial.
Your Honor, I was also not aware of these goings-ons with the invasion of Edgewood, but I agree with Tyrell in the instance that these charges should be brought up in a separate trial after the conclusion of the trial we are currently in session. I will have order. I will have order. She bangs her gavel on the podium once again as the crowd sort of quiets down. She says, "This new information, it does shed a certain light on things. But Detective Easter, I'm afraid that this will have to wait for another trial. I do appreciate you bringing this knowledge to this court, and I will remind the blind jury that this should have no sway on their decision of guilty or non-guilty. While this does bode some dark foreboding, these actions of the Kuatoa do not hold any weight on the previous accusations brought against this group, the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2. So again, Detective Easter, I thank you for this information. I am taking it into consideration, and we will proceed with this in the near future. After this court has found these defendants guilty or non-guilty. You may return to your seat."
I return to my seat.
Blebdu pull up. You may continue your questioning of your Kuatoa. Or if you are finished, you may return to your bench.
I believe we're done. And I give finger guns to Kayak.
Kayak just sort of puts both fists up in the air in his salute to Blibdu Pulip. And he remains standing there with both fists, waiting for your acknowledgement.
Yeah.
He puts
Hey,
his
hello.
arms down and he runs with his arms to his side back into the row. You see that High Justice Ginsburg motions to Dredd off to the side, and Dredd approaches the stand. And they have a little bit of a discourse, and Dredd sort of robotically, with just no hesitation whatsoever, storms out of the Hall of Justice and seems intent on going somewhere or doing something.
Objection?
Yes.
Objection.
What are you objecting to?
I don't know if you can object this.
Obviously, the actions going on here in this courtroom. There's been false evidence brought against me and my people in the middle of a trial, and now people are leaving very angrily. Only one could assume to go and act on these misguided and ill-informed information.
I do not know that you can object to my commands, seeing as this is a city under our jurisdiction. But if you must know, I sent Dredd to investigate these accusations brought against you. Granted, these accusations seem valid, seeing as they are coming from one of our very own detectives in the Keepers of Justice, who I trust very deeply, trusted enough to bring you to this trial.
It's very obvious here that everyone is against my people, and they have seen destruction and just assumed that my people...
I will have order. I will have order.
I will stand for my people.
I expect nothing less. But this is not your soapbox. This is my court, and we will have orderly conversation. Justice will be handled with respect, not stepped on for grand speeches. We are here to get to the bottom of all of this, and for the blind jury and myself to determine the intentions and the actions of you and your people, among other accusations brought against you. Now, if you are called to the stand and asked these questions, you may say your piece. But I will not have you addressing the entire courtroom from your bench. That is not how this operates. Do you understand, Blibdu Pulip?
I understand. I understand the tyranny of this
Blibdu
building.
Pulip! I will hold you in contempt. Thank you. May we proceed? Defense? May we proceed? Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Detective Tony Perkins, do you have anyone else to call to the stand on the accusations of murder? Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call the captain of the Blue Suns to the stand. Ooh, I've been waiting for my turn. So he sort of sways his hips and walks up to the stand. Tony says, "Sir, captain of the Blue Suns." "Ooh, you can call me Cap if you want. Cap. That's me, baby. Cap, is it true that you worked directly with Hob, the hero of Sprogspear?" "That's right, baby. We were good friends. We worked real close, but not like that. Ooh. And what service did you provide to Hob?" "Shipments all over the city, from Nyctanthes to Twin Spire City." So you transported goods. Can you name some of these goods for us that you transported for Hob? "Why, of course I can. Everything from people and humanoids to alcohol and goods and silks. You name it, we ship it. Yeah." So, are any of these things that you transported for him, you knew of the cargo in your holds, you were very aware of what it was you were transporting? "Yeah, I sure was, baby." Was there ever anything that you transported for Hob that would be considered illegal in some areas or would get you into trouble? "Well, yeah, baby, that's the nature of mercantile business. Demand and supply. The speakeasies here, they want alcohol, but they can't get it from Nyctanthes. So I ship it from other places, and I sell it to the speakeasies." And you can do that legally because, technically speaking, some of the speakeasies do not belong to the jurisdiction of Nyctanthes, much like the Nyctanthes Arbitratus Manor is allowed to consume and make alcohol. Is that correct? "Oh, yeah, you nailed it, baby." So you only sold the alcohol to the places that are exempt from the jurisdiction of the Keepers of Justice. "You bet your butt I did." Very well. Did the Kuatoa regularly disrupt your trade while doing your mercantile business? "You bet you did. They sure did. They'd attack my ships, attack my guys, ruin my cargo. My cargo." Do you know why they attacked your cargo and your ships? "No idea, baby. I just hate those fish-faced fucks. They really suck." Okay, so they just attacked you for no reason. There's no... You didn't ever go on on the offensive against these Kuatoa. Is it fair to assume you just avoided them at all costs? "Damn straight, baby. I hate those fishies. We stay well away from their place, but they still attack every once in a while." Did Hob fight off these Kuatoa pretty regularly, would you say? Like, were there mounted attacks, organized attacks on the city of Frogspear? "Yeah. That's why me and Hob first got into business. He protected the city, and the city's my money. So you protect my money, and you're my friend." So you became partners with Hob out of necessity for the continuation of your mercantile business, transportation, goods, things like that. Yeah. Did you know of the plot to kill Hob and his companions per these Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2? No way, baby. If I would have known, I would have stopped it. But you didn't stop it. When you saw your companions being attacked across the river, you stayed on your boat. Is there a reason you didn't go to the aid of your supposed business partner and friend who was protecting your well-being? I'm a lover, not a fighter. And well, I hate those fish face fucks. I don't want to get in the mix of things. I was a good fighter. I trusted him that he would win out the day. But he didn't win. He perished. Do you know why? Or can maybe you take a guess as to why he perished? I think the Kuatoa had some help. Something about the god. Blib doop pool up or some shit. I don't really know its name. So the assistance of their god was the reason that they were able to overcome Hob, in your opinion. Damn straight, baby. And Hob, on every account, fought against these Kuatoa to ensure that they didn't have a foothold in Nyctanthes. You got it, baby. So when Hob died, what happened? The Kuatoa took over the 1/3 of the frog spear. So clearly, Hob being taken out of the equation made room for the Kuatoa to finally get the foothold in frog spear they had been fighting for. Nail on the head right there. Just a couple more questions and I can go back to not hearing you sing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult you. You have a beautiful singing voice, but it does make it rather hard to interview you. Do you know of the fate of the medallion of the Shield Guardian that was in the possession of Hob? No way, baby. No idea where. But the Shield Guardian did stay in Frogspear, correct? Yeah. So when you left Frogspear to come for this trial, what became of the Shield Guardian? Those fishy people constructed some kind of statue of a lady with pretty nice boobs. Would you say that that lady with pretty nice boobs...
Objection.
Yes?
These are fantastic boobs. Let the court put that down.
Tony sort of rolls his eyes and says, would you say that these fantastic boobs are comparable or
Tony, I always knew you liked them.
similar to the ones adorning Tug or Blibdoopulip across the courtroom? I can't rightfully say. They're kind of far away. Maybe if I got a better look, I could tell you straight away.
I stand up. Shoulders back, chest out.
Yes, Your Honor, those are the titties. I would know for sure.
All the Kuatoa are just shaking their head. They're just like, yeah, he's right about one thing.
So, I can conclude that the Shield Guardian was used as a foundation for the new statue of Blibdoopulip in her likeness. Yeah, I'll be thinking about those pretty titties later tonight. Hey, hey, hey.
Jesus.
That's all for the Captain of the Blue Suns. I retreat. The
I have
defense
questions.
may ask questions.
Captain, now it's quite clear that you don't hide your disdain for my people and children. Is it true that you were offering money for the heads of the Kuatoa?
You know it, baby.
What exactly were you doing with these heads once you had them?
It kinda depends. Sometimes I use it as target practice for my arrows. Other times I chum the water for fish.
Oh my god. So, you know, it's funny how there's all these reported attacks of Kuatoa people, and yet, and then you were friends with Hob, who just happened to show up and know how to conquer these Kuatoa people, and yet you're a head collector. I mean, could there by chance Hob have been using these heads to impersonate the Kuatoa?
Impersonate with the heads of the Kuatoa. Seems unlikely to me.
Why exactly? I mean, the Kuatoa are quite the force, and they would be pretty hard to take down, as they just come in waves like the ocean, one right after the other. And yet, some man who came from nothing and knew with a band of brothers was able to conquer all of them. And have the Kuatoa done anything aggressive since being in Frogspear?
Well, I can't say I go over there much, 'cause I don't like their fishy scaly faces. But they keep to themselves, aside from the missionaries.
So the evil Kuatoa that everyone, when they see them, just assumes is going to attack and pillage and destroy, which has been no real confirmed cases of in absolute years. We've heard from the Kuatoa where they've said that they've been repressed into living in caves and hunted by your people, and then you claim that they're attacking your ships when I know for a fact that you're giving money for their head.
Hey,
And-
baby, you attack us, we attack you back. That's how it goes.
Huh. Seems a little fishy to me.
That's 'cause you're a fish, baby. And maybe wouldn't come to that in the past if you were with them. But now you're here, and I got no beef.
I don't have any further questions, I guess. I'm just connecting the dots from the testaments. Is that the right word? From all the
Testimonies.
testimonies, thank you. Yeah. The testimonies that we've had from all the witnesses saying that since the Kuatoa have arrived, they've been nothing but helpful. They had a little spout there at the beginning, but we got that settled out. And it seems like once again my people are just being persecuted and prejudged for no reason.
Tony speaks up and says, "Let the record show that Blibdoopulip confused the word testament and testimonies. Thank you."
Let it be shown that Tony came to court with no evidence and then tried to say that we killed something that we didn't, and then had to backstep and say that we didn't do that. So, like, this entire court should be thrown out.
Objection, Your Honor. Blibdoopulip is merely recounting the events that occurred here today.
You're exactly right. I am. No evidence. case should be thrown out. Everyone's innocent. Tony needs to go see somebody.
This is all speculation and opinion.
That's been the whole court case.
I refuse to argue with someone who's not on the stand. I have no questions, but I would like it to be known that they're merely stating opinion and not on the stand or calling anyone to the stand.
All right. Yeah, I want to clear my throat to Tug. Be like, jerk my head back towards us. But I do want to ask the captain some questions.
Sure. And then I know it's coming up on 10 o'clock, so when you're done with your questions...
We all want to get through it if we can.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can power through that way, next episode, Ian will probably be more involved.
Yes, I'm all for it. Okay.
I might go ahead and jump off just because I know I'm not involved.
I'm sorry, Ian.
No problem. I wish the trial well. I'll see you guys next week.
See you, dude.
Or you won't see us.
Bye.
Okay, Captain.
Yes.
Have you seen this man before? I'm gonna direct his attention to Tony.
That guy over there, I can't say I have.
So, as you stated, you do lots of work throughout Morningstar and different trade routes, including humans, humanoids, different creatures.
You betcha.
Where did you procure these creatures to then sell to different cities?
We took him from the wilderness and the prisons.
All of them. Every single one.
Of course. They're the cheapest.
You also say that you trade and sell, alcohol in these different port cities, including my panties. But you said you do it outside the jurisdiction of the city.
You betcha.
You don't sell or trade anything within the city at all?
Technically, the Nyctanthes Arbitritis Manor is within the city, but it was here before the Keepers of Justice, so it's exempt from this prohibition.
Would you say that your trade outs have been disturbed, other than Frogspear, since the destruction of Frogspear? 1/3 of it.
Buyers are pretty restless. The Kuatoa moving in is not good for business.
Not good business for you specifically, or for others?
Me specifically. But people are afraid to go to Frogspear. The story scared them.
The historic stories or recent events?
Recent events. Something about building a big statue and then taking over 1/3 of the Frogspear is not very promising.
Well, as you've heard today in a court, they're actually prospering within the city.
Yes, the Kuatoa are prospering, but the rest of us are having to do without the services that we previously had.
Is that just because you refuse to go to that portion of Frogspear? Because of your hatred for the Kuatoa?
Not necessarily hatred. Like I said, I got no beef about the new commandments, but they provide no benefit to anyone but themselves. There ain't no theater.
So you're saying you're not doing business with them because there's no more theater?
Just merely one blip on the radar. All I'm saying is they're a bit of an isolationist.
I mean, we can. If you want a theater, you will see a show like you've never seen before.
If you promise me to show those titties at your theater, I'll buy all the tickets for my peoples.
Guys, I see show business in my future.
Are you gonna become a showgirl? Oh goodness.
All I'm saying is the Kuatoa are not big on trade. They like to build up their own stuff and stay away.
What do you mean by that? They want to stay away.
They salvage goods from the bottom of the river, but they hoard and keep them for themselves. They don't trade out to merchants like myself.
Do you think that maybe that's because you religiously hunt them?
Hey, now take it easy. I receipted all my bounties once they established themselves in the city. Like I said, I got no beef with the new commandments. All I'm saying is it's not good for business.
Okay, so what you would say is the new commandments are a positive thing. The city is still under construction. If that were to open up, and trade was more likable, I guess for you, wouldn't you say that would begin a new trade relationship with that portion of Frogspear?
I'd say the Kuatoa are more like dogs on a leash. At any point it could be let off, and those dogs could sick themselves on me.
Do you know much about how the Kuatoa work?
Can't say I do, but in what capacity do you mean?
Well, you say that they're on a short leash, or they could attack. But since Tug has taken over, there's been nothing but prosperity in Frogspear. So why would you have
Prosperity for the Kuatoa.
the city's still under construction? That they're continuing to rebuild the city after what the Restless Knights did.
How do you think those people at Edgewood feel?
That's not currently what we're speaking about in this trial, and it's all hearsay at this moment.
I tend to trust the detectives. The keepers of justice have no reason to lie. All I'm saying is it kinda makes sense that people might be a bit shy.
Okay. Okay. No further questions.
All right. Tony steps up. Your Honor, I only have one more witness to call to the stand. And I call Hob, the hero of Frogspear, to the stand. The crowd gasps.
Oh my god.
The doors at the back of the hall open up.
Objection.
Yeah, one identification verification has been completed. Has he proven he can tell you what crosswalks are in the 9 pictures shown here?
Your Honor, I understand the unusual nature of this witness, but Hob was listed on the prosecution list. He was listed as one of the murder victims. He is currently deceased, but I have plans to use the spell Speak with the Dead in a attempt to appease the defense. Speak the Dead only allows 5 questions to be asked to the deceased. I will merely only take 2 of those questions. The defense may take the majority of the questions and inquire Hob himself with any prying questions they may have.
Damn, bombshell.
So they continue to cart the slab down the aisle. There's no slab token, but they sort of cart the dead slab in front of the podium. Let's see. Forget. Oh, yeah, he's a half orc. Bam. Okay. So the corpse of Hob is on a slab before him. Your Honor, do you have any objections to this method of questioning? Although it be unusual, as long as the defense is accepting of the questions.
I mean, either way, you kind of put us in a pickle. But I guess I would just ask, as you've mentioned, it's unusual. Is this an acceptable approach under the eyes of the court?
Technically, Hob was listed on the proceedings. While I myself have never proceeded over a hearing, Speak with the Dead is a very well-known spell. I trust that Tony Perkins can perform this spell. If the defense would like to provide someone to validate his use of the spell to ensure that it is legit, they may do so. But I also like to add that a member of your own defense, Warren White, is also undead.
Yeah, I want to look to him for any advice he has to say here, but also act like I'm not paying attention that he exists because we haven't talked to him this entire episode.
He sort of uses his tongue to like scratch his head, like he really didn't see this one coming.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. So I'm just thinking we let it run because yeah.
All right. So Tony approaches the corpse of Hob. It's rather mangled, but the head and mouth remain well enough intact. He sort of runs his hands over the table, and you can see some of the candlelight start to flicker with the incantation as he focuses. He finally snaps his fingers. The lights whisk out and re-illuminate immediately. And you see a slight green glow start to emanate from the inside of Hob's decapitated head. It says, Hob, I have brought you here to ask you questions of your previous life. I only have 2 questions for you. Do you recall what group of individuals were responsible for you and your companion's demise? So there's this sort of whisper that comes out of the skull. Yes. It was the Zoo Warriors. Electric Boogaloo 2. My final question before the next 3 for the defense. After breaking into your residence and threatening your life, did these individuals ever explain why they were there to kill you? Never. I retreat, Your Honor. the defense may ask their questions. I figured one question for each of you, or one of you can ask all 3 questions, but you only have 3 more questions before the spell ends. The spell lasts 10 minutes, so.
So we've got, what, 7 more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Six more minutes.
Defense.
Is this like he has the ability to lie?
So the way you know the spell works, from the best of your knowledge, is that his soul does not re-enter the body, but it's merely a vessel that acts as like a telephone for him to communicate. He holds all the same grudges and spites up until that point of his death. He doesn't know anything that's transpired after his death. He only knows what came before. So he's the same person he was up until the moment you killed him, and he knows nothing beyond that. Tony steps up and says, Your Honor, I believe everyone knows, but I just want to make it clear so the defense has time. But this spell, this incantation only lasts 10 minutes. And they have 3 questions left to ask. If the defense...
I'll step up. Ranger Steve.
All right. So you walk up to the mutilated corpse of Hob, and you can see that it is very, very well Hob himself. It's you remember especially well Ranger Steve, because he maybe did a number on you.
Did you attack the city of Frogspear, specifically Palm, to kill him?
I attacked that rat bastard Palm. Yeah, I did. But not the city as a whole.
Did you attack and kill Palm because he told us the secrets of the treacherous things you were doing within the city?
I didn't find Palm at the theater, but I destroyed what was most precious to him. And he owed me money for that manticore. Tyrell Tug.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the court to provide us a Ouija board.
I mean, sure.
Shit, okay. I don't think we have time for this.
Tony steps up. Your Honor, they are running out of time. There's one question left to ask.
The last question is,
Are you approaching Hob?
did you affiliate with the Blue Suns?
Yes!
And then I want to watch him, like, just hang up. But
So, watching him hang up, so to speak, you see the green light in his throat sort of pulsate a little bit brighter and then fade down into nothing. And you see the corpse sort of go limp where it had once been reanimated. 5 questions had been asked. The 10 minutes had passed. And all of the testimonies, unless the defense cares to call more to the stand, have been interviewed. That just leaves closing statements to the blind jury.
who typically goes first in your court here?
It's up to the defense if they'd like to be the last to speak or the first.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll do last.
Okay. So Tony approaches the blind jury. Esteemed humanoids and creatures of the blind jury, during this trial you have seen the inconsistent and erratic behavior of the group known as the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2 on full display. You've seen the evidence in the form of eyewitness testimony and physical evidence, which we verified with said eyewitnesses. There is an age-old name for a group of individuals like the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2. We call these groups POCs, or Polymorph Organized Crime. Polymorph Organized Crime refers to those self-perpetuating associations of individuals who operate across Morningstar for the purpose of obtaining power, influence, monetary and or commercial gains, wholly or in part by illegal means, while protecting their activities through a pattern of corruption and or violence, or while protecting their illegal activities through a polymorph organizational structure, and the exploitation of Morningstar commerce or communication mechanisms. There's no single structure under which the polymorph organization operates. They vary from hierarchies to clans to networks, cells, and may evolve to other structures like religion. The crimes they commit also vary. Polymorph organized criminals act conspiratorially in their criminal activities and possess certain characteristics which may include, but are not limited to, in at least part of their activities, they commit violence or acts which are likely to intimidate or make actual implicit threats to do so. They exploit differences between regions to further their objectives, enriching organization and expanding its power and or avoiding detection and apprehension. They attempt to gain influence in government, politics, and commerce through corrupt as well as legitimate means. They have economic gain as their primary goal, not only from illegal activities, but also from investment in legitimate business. They attempt to insulate both their leadership and their membership from detection, sanction, and prosecution through their organizational structure. This, humanoids and creatures of the blind jury, is exactly the kind of illegal activities the Zoo Warriors Electric Boogaloo 2 have been perpetrating across Morningstar. I ask you now the same question I did in my opening statements. If they are not brought to justice now, what horrors await us in the future? I leave the verdict of guilty or not guilty in the capable hands of the blind jury. Thank you, High Justice Ginsburg, and thank you, blind jury, for your patience. Defense, your closing statements.
Sure. Mine may be a little lengthy. I come from an area where our format is slightly different, so I've got a little bit more here for you. But I'll get started here. Justice was one of the things mentioned there towards the end of the accusing party there of Mr. Tony. So I would like to just clarify that this trial is to debate lies in which truth or moral standard is most correct. Obviously, none of you in this blind jury were around for any of the instances, so both of our sides will do all in our power to plead our cases. I will do my best to prove our sound characters that justify our actions and bring up examples from today's cross-examinations that prove our innocence of any ill intent we have been accused of. To do this, we will uphold a value system that is of justice, as previously mentioned here, accurately defined by our hometown as giving each or her his due or what is deserved. To uphold this value, we will utilize a value criterion of autonomy, meaning a person is in charge of him or herself. Our following contentions prove our innocence, including rebuttals to all accused statements, or else uphold the most just decisions whilst utilizing autonomy. They are as follows. Contention 1. Accountability has been proven time and time again by the members of the accused. I bring up some examples here, such as the assault on Baldbeard. While there was no direct intentional attack was proven throughout that cross-examination, what we can say is that there were accidents that occur. The best attempts in this were to make right, including healing right here in front of you in the court. Account of domestic terrorism. It was a rogue titan that destroyed a village and a city that we ran into, which we have proven that we had stopped, that we disposed of the ability control. Datlov, who says that our group was of good character. He has no reason to not trust our group. We went to find his missing son. We risked our lives to bring back the unfortunate news, all out of the respect and goodness of our own hearts, to prove our good character. And lastly, Jonathan, who even said today, them guys are all right. He had witnessed this earlier. While I'd like to drop the mic right here, there's more to cover. Contention 2. There is no just universal punishment without due process. A prime example from our case here is around the metaphysical religion not being registered and the accounts around this, which is brought up time and time again throughout this session. While ignorance is not a solid defense, it was verbally proven a state of emergency needed quick action to save a full species population of the Kuatoa. They were having issues, so we wanted to make this right, and what we should do in order for future occurrences of this is make this right in the books as a requirement rather than being unjust, undue process punishment. Livdipulip is a god. He is one that has proven his worthiness through a congregation of followers and deserving of a religious statue, the practice and the statue that stands today, as mentioned earlier. As asked by Tony, to a Livdipulip follower, pillage and rape no more was one of the mentions. This is something that Tug brought a great structure and maturity and peace within within these people and the surrounding entities. So I ask, are these rules that are not universal understanding of wrongdoing posted? How is one to know these issues should not be committed? How can we know they are wrong? Something like this that is not universal. Perhaps by a leading authority, perhaps by someone who has constant eye watch over said new members into an area that can warn them of bad actions and their repercussions. Our experience has not been such. Tony only showed us a face of pure positive honor, gratitude, and even willingness to assist us in our endeavors. Other situations here were around the Kieran murder. This one was actually thrown out by Tony himself. His recount of the story aligned with our account of a sacrifice for the great cause of saving the forest, pointing back to that accountability. And lastly, the captain of the Blue Suns, who says, unfortunately, this is a direct quote, hates those fish-faced fucks. Only proving are the racist comment that I had mentioned earlier when being cross-examined against the Kuatoa. This is a leader of the Restless Knights, one that points towards truth in our claims of a bad acting group and one who captured slaves, possessing to attack us, leading us to one of the larger accounts against us around the destruction of the city. There was also a mention of a plot to kill Hob. I'll put in parentheses here. There was no plot. This is because we were working in the moment to save the city as best we could. And lastly, my contention 3, our accuser, Tony, is of untrustworthy character, thus violates a core tenet of justice. And to give a couple quick definitions around this, again, justice is giving each his or her due what is deserved. And autonomy is a person is in charge of him or herself. So with trust as a noun is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. And as a verb, to believe in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of. Tony is someone who, under his own volition, has had his legs removed, arm, face slash, eaten coals, all in just attempts to claim our persons are unstable, which he clearly continually wants to point that against us. However, he is the one that has made these defects in his own decisions, making very poor choices for his own autonomy. I met Tony nearly 2 years ago in my time, and yet I only learned his true last name recently for this court proceeding. For background, he has followed our group for this time, watching over our every move. During this time, he has brought forth a plethora of accusations of ill intent, as he says, and as we've been thrown out and proven otherwise incorrect. I can tell you without a doubt that with Tony's accusation, we have seen nothing but an opposite of trust in his character, and as brought up in cross-examination, possibly and likely insanity. A man who went through physical harm and required death savings to survive. In fact, one that Flip actually helped ensure his death did not occur. What kind of person willingly brings harm onto oneself for any cause, as he's mentioned? And after that is done, what kind of emotional and especially physical damage could affect that person's judgment and decision making? So how can his accusations be trusted? Remember, our confusion around his questions around the owlbear encounters, for example, our testimony has admittedly seemed odd, but due to the picture forcibly being painted by this man with an unstable will in mind, his accounts have been all over the place for those accusations, which have, and with many others that were brought, and if you remember at the beginning of the case, a huge list. And how many of those were thrown out? Nearly all. We're down to a couple here at the end. Overall, his evidence is circumstantial at best. His personal witness testimony cannot be trusted as fact. I would say in conclusion here, I ask you, the blind jury, where is the justice in a two-faced entity? Someone who puts on a persona to be of great assistance and trust in people. So I ask you to think of each accusation against our party. Do each seem to be applied ethically, responsibly, and with proper due course of evidence or process? Or have they been brought upon us without proper notification or posting, or perhaps by the stalking agent who could inform us rather than let us continue? I can answer all that with another question for you. Out of the 13 listed accusations, some with multiple counts, how many stood to the end of this trial? Was it only the owlbear and the restless nights? Were not all others thrown out by this court, by Tony himself or the court through these proceedings? As obvious newlanders in this area, these accusations have boiled down to misunderstandings and thrown out today in this session for various reasons under due process. For the owlbear encounter, we remember in patches, we have pleaded our cases by self-defense. These are not ill intent, thus should be thrown out as well, as it should not be just to punish someone who was to have died otherwise, if not killed in self-defense. The restless nights, we actually did self-defense again, those enslaving and controlling said slaves, and also to assist saving a city. Then Hobb, who is actively destructing the city with his remote control Titan. Again, in closing here, I ask, please uphold justice as this town would expect you to. Thank you.
Nice job.
Can never say that Tyrell didn't pull his weight.
That was really good, Jared.
Yep, that's great.
The blind jury will come to a verdict. They will proceed into my chambers. And upon the return of this recess, we will have a verdict. I dismiss this court until further notice. She bangs her gavel, and the session ends here. Next time with the verdict,
When Jared was like, I got the ending thing, I was like, damn, he does. Jared's on this.
He did a good job.
Yeah.
I knew when he said I got this. Like we're good now, guys. We're home. We're free.
Oh.
It's up to the viewers to vote. So if you're watching this still, and I've edited I don't know how I'm gonna edit it down to an hour, but I'm gonna try. maybe you fast forward through the entire thing, but this is the part where we go down the list of accusations and you determine their guilt or not. If they get let off or if they have to face the age-old punishment here from the Keepers of Justice, which is blood for blood and then some.
Gold that we just learned about since we've been in this city.
But just to run down the list real quick, the assault charges. The
Thrown out.
assault charges were thrown out. The sexual assault was admitted guilt by Blib Dupulip himself, so no need to pass judgment on that one. He passed judgment himself. The unregistered metaphysical religious organization is one you will have to give yay or nay on. The killing of an endangered species of the Kirin and the 2 owlbears is another one you will have to weigh in on. Domestic terrorism, the destruction of Giant's Bones, is another you will have to weigh in on. And then finally, the biggest one, the first-degree murder of Hob and the Restless Knights.
Does the one with the Blackbeard not stay?
That is the one account of assault that stays. So the one assault charge that stuck was against Baldbeard the Broken, the person that Tug shot a firebolt at his face and burned off his beard.
But he
Whoa! Oh, that.
Would you describe that event, please, in one sentence? Tell me what you did
He was
to
tired.
Mr. Baldbeard that caused him to
I'm just
press
saying,
charges.
You're really trying to push votes. I mean, I think they've had
One sentence. One sentence. I give you one sentence.
No, I say it stands.
Pretty straightforward.
Bullshit. No, that's bullshit.
But otherwise, we will end the session here. Unless you guys have anything else before we conclude. Thanks for going the extra 30 minutes. Sorry, Ian, for the long court proceedings. I didn't expect all this to go 3-4 sessions, but there's a lot of stuff to vent here. So a lot of comeuppance potentially. But yeah, share the video with your friends that I'll send you eventually, and we'll see if we can't get a blind jury together to establish your fate.
Bam.
All right, everybody say bye-bye stream.
Bye-bye, stream.